the destiny of millions around the world. The vision that created legends out of brave men and women. The vision that empowered and created the global superstars. This is the story of the world's fastest growing MMA promotion. This is the story of Brave Combat Federation. Since its inception, 6 years of and it holds the largest MMA market share in Asia. It's the symbol of a nation's pride and greatness. The greatness doesn't end here. The thrive continues with the global domination to change the sport of MMA from event business to sports business. To transform the MMA sports ecosystem. Brave CF will continue its legendary journey.
Assalamu alaikum Shabbat! I want you to be loud. I want you to be proud. It's time to be brave. Are you ready?
It's like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now water can flow or it can crash. Running water never grows stale. So you gotta just keep on flowing. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Be water, my friend.
Welcome to Brave 38, coming to you right here from Stockholm, Sweden. 2 of 3 in Stockholm, 4 of 5 right here in Europe. I'm joined as always by Phil Campbell. Phil, what an absolutely cracking event we had the last time. Great show of talent from everyone that was on the card.
Yeah, not just last week, but the entirety of what we've been doing in Europe with Brave Combat Federation really shows the global footprint that Brave is leaving in these territories. It's not just one and done. We return to these territories. We help foster the natural talent within that demographic. And to me, that's what Brave's all about.
And if all the other shows have been building up to a European invasion, this is the show that showcases the real European talent that we have. Everything from young talent coming through to guys that really want to prove a point and move on to the next phase of their careers.
Yeah, what you're looking at is essentially a smorgasbord of talent. Yes, I said smorgasbord because we're in Sweden. You just look at our first fight of the night, Jay. Malin Hermanson taking on Ellen Oberg. This fight for me could be a main event style fight. Malin Hermanson fought 3 weeks ago in Romania. In the post-fight interview, I spoke to her. I asked her, what do you want to do next? She actively said, I want to fight as soon as possible. I want to fight on a huge card. Your wish is granted. You're 5-1 coming into this fight. You have so much potential, but there is a variable with Ellen Oberg there. This is a young lady who is 2-1 as a pro. In her debut back in 2018, she finished her opponent in how long? 6 seconds. A lot of people didn't even have time to sit down. They had just put the kettle on. They had gone to get stuff. Came back, her opponent had already been knocked out. This is a woman with a serious striking arsenal. People are writing off her striking because Malin is such a devastating striker. But Ellen is a multiple-time medalist in World Sanda, in World Wushu. She's a European champion in Sanda Wushu. She has devastating kicks, and I think perhaps for Malin, this might be one of the more dangerous fights she's had in her career. Malin has a tendency to keep her hands low because she's been so dominant in the boxing exchanges, but she cannot afford to do that against somebody who is so dangerous in the kicking realm.
And that's exactly the point on this one, Phil. If you watched her fight against Anna Maria Powell, the hands were kept very low. She did actually catch 1 or 2 head kicks as well in that fight, and I think the difference here is she takes a head kick from Ellen. This could be a very different finish from the last one. It's something she's going to have to keep her eyes on. She's going to have to rely a lot more on the movement and keep the hands up and keep that distance, because again, boxing distance and kicking distance is very different.
What should be a warning sign for Malin in this fight was the Bianca Antman fight last week. She unleashed a beautiful head kick because her opponent's hands were low. That should be a warning sign. You need to watch your P's and Q's. You need to be respectful in this type of a fight.
And watching her from the last event, she came in very relaxed. At the weigh-in, she was very calm. This one, she came in very different. From the weigh-ins this morning, she looked very focused. There was no joking around. She hasn't been her normal jovial self the day of the weigh-ins. Event day, she's coming in switched on. She's been hungry for this fight against Ellen. It's a massive rivalry right here in Sweden. And this one, if it goes 3, could definitely be put in a shot for fight of the night.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think it's because Malin acknowledges the gravity of this fight. I think she acknowledges what a fight like this, what a standout performance can do for her. Not just in Swedish, not just in European, but in global mixed martial arts. A breakout performance puts her right back on that global stage, makes her really flourish, Jay.
And moving on to the next fight, one that I've personally been very looking forward to is Jamil Chan Isakov. Jamil Chan has dynamite in his hands. His stand-up is incredible, but he is going to have a challenge in this one against Isakov.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Jamil Chan is nicknamed Dynamite for a reason. Why, you might ask? Because of his 15 wins, 12 have been by way of TKO or KO. 10 have come in the very first round. This is a guy who is a proponent of what I like to think of of that really classical style of Dutch kickboxing, punishes the body, finishes with those leg kicks, really chops them in, actually owns a TKO victory due to leg kicks, and is also the owner of one of the fastest KOs in the history of Brave Combat Federation at only 29 seconds. But he's not going to get it easy against somebody like Isakov, Jay.
And the knockout you were talking about, we were in the arena when he fought that night and got the 29-second knockout. And the look and feel of him at this event is very similar to he was on that night. He was very focused. Again, no joking, no running around. He's been everywhere we've seen him in training and everywhere else. He looks super focused. Also, the weight cut's not as bad this time. He didn't look as, as drawn out and as if the weight cut was too much. He came in right on weight. He looked very good. I think this is one where we're going to see Jamil Chan really shine.
Well, let's be honest. Let's call a spade in this fight. Jamil Chan is on a 3-fight losing streak, but I think that makes him at his most dangerous. When you back an injured lion into a corner, that is when they are at their most dangerous. We know what he's capable of. We know just how good he is. But in somebody like Isakov, he's fighting an incredibly well-rounded mixed martial artist, a man that has 7 wins in his career, all 7 by way of finish. Last time we saw him inside the Brave Arena, we saw him with a career-best performance against Rami Ahmed. He rode the storm in the first round, coming back to win by a beautiful armbar. He may have not had it his way in the first round, but like the Terminator he is, he said, I'll be back, comes back into the second round with that armbar, scoring the biggest win of his career.
And I think in this one, what to look out for is Jamil Chan probably going after that leg, stopping him from really being able to shoot for the takedowns, taking that front leg away from him, and then probably going after the body and the knockout punches.
Yeah, like I said, a genuinely fantastic proponent of that Dutch-style kickboxing. I expect to see a reinvigorated, re-energized, rejuvenated Jamil Dynamite Chan going into this fight.
And then the fight I've been looking forward to the most. This is a tale of 2 really big stars, in my opinion. You've got Tariq Ismail coming off a 6-0 undefeated record, multiple-time boxing champion, multiple-time kickboxing champion. You've got Bernardo Sopai, who's 19 years old with a record of 7-1. I don't know what you were doing at 19, but building a 7-1 pro record is not what I was doing at 19. This kid is super exciting to watch. I've watched his sparring, I've watched his training. His switch and stance is so seamless. His foot movement is incredible. And the 2 of them at the weigh-ins really went at it. It really switched on in both of them calling for let's keep it standing and let's strike because you're going to go down.
See, I think a little bit of that gamesmanship was initiated by Tariq Ismail. He knows just how well-rounded Bernardo Sopai is. Bernardo Sopai is nicknamed the Lion King because pretty much so far he's been the king of the jungle. But there is a storm coming, and that storm is called Tariq the Desert Storm Ismail. As we've said, 6-0, undefeated as a professional, but all his wins have come by way of decision. In his fights, we've seen people perhaps be a little bit too respectful of the striking. He has a wonderful way of breaking the rhythm of his opponents, getting them to fight his style of a fight. He controls the dance, he controls the flow, the cadence. But in somebody like Bernardo Sopai, he is not going to have that option. Bernardo is going to put the fight on him from the very beginning. 7-1 as a professional, all wins coming by way of stoppage, 4 by KO, 3 by submission, illustrating his diversity, illustrating that he can win standing, he can win on the ground. He's a fantastic wrestler. He really is that new breed of mixed martial artist. And coming out of All Stars Training Center in Stockholm, Sweden, he has some absolute beasts to train with, especially at that size. He has Bilal Tipsayev, he has Mohamed Makayev, just real killers. And training with guys like that day in, day out, it's a cliche, but iron really does sharpen iron, Jay.
And also, as we said, 19 years old in age, but inexperience and the way he assesses fights, the way he breaks them down. I had a conversation with him about this fight in particular, and he already said to me off the bat, Tariq doesn't get pressured. He doesn't get pushed. He doesn't like people on top of him, and if anyone's going to do that to him, it's me. That from a 19-year-old to be able to break down a fight like that, see his opponent, know where his advantage could be, this has Fight of the Night written all over it. If this thing goes 3 rounds, Fight of the Night's not even on the table. Fight of the Year is on the table.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, you have the young, hungry Lion King, 19 years old, against the veteran Tariq at 30 years old. This is really going to be about the passing of the torch kind of feel around this. The young, hungry prospect wanting to go in, take that energy, take that momentum from the veteran, but the veteran will want to say, I'm an established pro here, I know what I'm doing, and I can take on anyone.
And I think for both of them, it's about pushing to the next level. Tariq wants to prove that he can finish an opponent. He wants to show people that he can finish a fight early. And I think for Bernardo, he wants to show that he's ready for the step up in opponent. He's ready to go to that next level. as only a 19-year-old. If he comes away with a win in this one against an undefeated fighter like Tariq, his career is just going to go from strength to strength from here on up.
Yeah, realistically, Jay, this fight is on a knife edge. You know, again, you have the prospect versus the veteran. This is a huge fight for both men for very different reasons. So when that cage door closes, I cannot wait to see the kind of action we'll be in store for.
So moving on to the co-main event, one of the most spoken about battles in Europe, the submission specialist, the finisher in Benoit Saint-Denis, who finishes fights from everywhere in every kind of submission. And his opponent, Mario Saheed from the UK, really wanting to stamp his authority in Brave Combat Federation, making his debut on a big stage like this in the co-main event.
Yeah, this fight for me is so interesting for a number of different reasons. Everyone is talking about the submission game of Benoit Saint-Denis. Why? Because he's perfect as a mixed martial artist. He is 5-0. 5 wins by way of submission, 4 coming in the very first round. But if you break down his submissions, each one has been different, therefore showing that he's not just a one-trick pony. He has a diverse repertoire of submissions that he can rely on. We need look back at only his last performance at Brave Combat Federation 34 when he beat a 74-fight veteran in Ivica Trusic by knee bar. Again, showing his diversity of skill, his diversity of attack. But then if you look at Mario Rudeboy, people are kind of sleeping on Mario's side for some reason. I don't know. Shots are coming in from different angles. The entry into takedowns are a little bit different. But as I say, Mario Saheed, a fantastic wrestler. And I almost believe that he will be anticipating the takedown. I think you could see him stand and trade for a little while, force the shot from Benoit Saint-Denis, and sprawl hard and heavy.
And also, the one thing that happens when you fight a southpaw against an orthodox is the feet. It's the one thing people don't always take notice of, is when the two fighters are fighting, it's who actually gets the outside spot of the foot, which does allude to a lot of things. You can't move outwards because your opponent's foot in the way. It makes the shot come in at a bit of a different angle. It's something not many people take notice of, but guys that have fought southpaw quite often, or especially a southpaw coming in who trains with orthodox fighters, it's something they're very aware of throughout the fight.
Well, traditionally, if you're looking at two orthodox fighters, they tend to circle away from the power hand. If you do that with a southpaw, you're circling right into their power side, their power straight, their power body kick. So a very, very interesting dynamic, and one that I think might take both guys a little bit of time to get used to.
And then moving on to the main event, the level of excitement for me is off the charts. It's goosebump stuff. It's when I sat down and looked at who we could potentially put on this fight, and had a discussion and started negotiating, for me, everything about this fight is what I wanted to see. Carl Booth has been with Brave Combat Federation for a long time. We know him very well. He has got absolute dynamite in his hands. His last fight, he came out and showed us something we hadn't really seen before against Haida Hassan. His distance, his control, the jab that he was sitting behind, his head movement was just something we hadn't seen from him before. Going up against a former champion in Abduragimov, both of them have their eye on the current champion. They have fought him before. Both of them are 2 fights in against him.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I genuinely believe that Carl Booth is going to come into this fight with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Currently riding a 2-fight win streak, I very much believe that he believes he should already have that shot at Jarrah, but he will have to go through a former champion in Abduragimov, a guy who has some of the most beautifully technical Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and technically beautiful grappling in all of Brave Combat Federation. What he does so well is when he gets the takedown, he's in a dominant position. He gives his opponent just enough space to make a mistake and therefore capitalize upon that. But there's also a misconception that Carl Bomber Booth doesn't have wrestling, doesn't have jiu-jitsu. I can tell you from watching this man, he does. He hasn't really had to use it because his stand-up is so good. His takedown defense, his use of angles is so good. 9-3 as a professional, 7 wins coming by finish. A very, very tricky customer. But then if you look at the record of Abduragimov, 10-1 as a professional. The only loss coming against champion Jarrah Al-Salawi. The real question for me, Jay, is what kind of Abduragimov is going to show up on the night? Because we've seen different shades of Abduragimov. We've seen the champion hungry. We've seen him being challenged in his last fight, and he retired on the stool. It was Brave's version of a no-mask moment. So it really depends for me. Does he come back reinvigorated? Does he come back hungry? How bad does he want it? How bad does he want another shot at the champion?
And I think this fight is going to be all about sheer will. It's going to be, is Abduragimov going to come in with that killer instinct? Is he going to be able to get the takedown and go for the finish? Or is he just going to get the takedown, look for position work, and not really push for the finish? Because if Carl Booth gets half a chance, you know he's going for the finish in this one.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. And as I say, I believe Carl's coming in with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. People don't realise that in 2014, he knocked out Jarrah Al-Salawi. And then in 2017, he lost a decision. So as far as he's concerned, that's 1-1. And I, for one, as a fan, as a commentator, would love to see that kind of a rubber match.
And with both of them, both of these guys are 1-1 against the current champion, and a trilogy match for either one is something I would buy tickets for to watch that. But I think the most interesting part of that is the guy who fought Jarrah Al-Salawi in Carl Booth before is a very different fighter today than what he was then, and Jarrah is a very different fighter today than he was then.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And speaking to both these men, they're a little bit perturbed that the spectre of Jarrah Al-Salawi has been hanging over this fight. The questions have not been what are you going to do in the fight? They've all been pretty much centred around Jarrah. So I think both of these men will want to go in, make a huge statement in Brave Combat Federation and call out the champion post-fight.
And I think what's going to happen in this one as well, and I've spoken about it before, is Abdul's wrestling is very good, his ground game is very good, but his athleticism is just crazy. He's done backflips, somersaults, headstands, all kinds of things when we've had public weigh-ins before. His athleticism is probably, for me, his strongest thing that he has in the fight. And Carl Booth, I think what's going to really be there for him is the boxing we saw in the last fight that he had. That head movement, the lateral movement to make sure he's out of the way when Abdul actually shoots. And he's going to be looking for that knockout punch. I think he wants to finish this one early, prove that he needs to be the #1 contender, and get in there with Jarrah as soon as possible.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, Jay, we know that Carl Booth is a finisher. 7 finishes, as I've alluded to, on his record. We need only look at his fight with Dino Bagatan. He put a hurting on Dino. The only reason he didn't finish him quicker is because Dino is so tough. But if you look at the diversity of strikes that he has, elbows, knees, punches, very dynamic striker. But that's not to say that the striking of Abduragimov is not within championship realm, because he's almost awkward with what he's doing. If he doesn't really know what he's going to do, how can his opponent prepare for that? It's a very awkward style of striking, but it's also very effective.
Well, we could stand here and talk about this card all night, but without further ado, let's get in and watch some fights. This is one I'm really looking forward to, and again, this is the biggest card we've put on in Europe. Enjoy it, and we'll catch you again afterwards.
A man's vision, determination, inspired a generation. It gave a new dream for the youth of his homeland. It created a groundbreaking revolution in the sports. When a vision is strongest, nothing can stop its far-reaching impact. And the vision was 3 powerful letters: KHK. And today, his vision is far-reaching. The valor and pride of his homeland is far-reaching. Today, his vision is defining the future of a new generation. A generation of heroes and of gladiators. Today is the day of hope for the hopeless. The day KHK will inspire the souls to fight back, irrespective of what they are and who they are. Many will emerge as heroes. This will be a new era of true heroes and gladiators. When he stood in the front and led them, they called him the Prince of Gladiators and Heroes.
2016, a vision revolutionized mixed martial arts in the Middle East. It all started with the evolution of MMA in a small island in the Middle East. The magnificent Kingdom of Bahrain, a land of ancient glory and bravery, thriving under great leaders and visionaries. The country is now home to the largest MMA promotion in the region, Brave Combat Federation. And the kingdom became the first ever country outside of the United States that featured the IMF World Championships. His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa and his true warrior spirit envisioned the growth of MMA in the region. He believed in the glory of the sport of mixed martial arts and facilitated the best MMA facility in the land. Along with brave President the Hawk, Mohammed Saheed, in the shortest span of time we grew stronger. We grew bigger. This is the story of the fastest growing MMA promotion in the world. This is the story of Brave Combat Federation.
Fastest growing MMA promotion as we return for our European invasion and the most stacked fight card to date. We're live, Brave CF 38. Firstly, I must say thank you to His Royal Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, founder of KHK Sports and the Brave Combat Federation. His Royal Highness is the visionary behind turning Brave into a truly global MMA phenomenon. 38 events across 20 countries in less than 4 years. I must also thank our Brave Combat Federation President, Mr. Mohammed Saheed. He is the man who turns His Royal Highness Sheikh Khaled's vision into a reality. Thank you also to Bulldog Fight Nights, our co-promoters and partners here for our European invasion, helping us put together 3 monumental fight cards in Stockholm, Sweden. Finally, a thank you to our main event sponsors, Abu Dhabi Sports, Aftonbladet, and Greenhill, as they share our vision to empower the sport of mixed martial arts all around the globe. Before we get down to business, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, we continue our European invasion. Same place, same time, next week, Brave CF 39. So, the stage is set. Thousands of hours of training culminate in this very moment. To the millions watching around the world, I need to know, Who's ready for action? All action inside the cage is sanctioned by the Swedish MMA Federation. Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of pro MMA in this catchweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Sweden by way of Nigeria. He stands at 171 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 68 kilograms. Making his pro debut, Vasiodo, the Nigerian Jaguar Odawu! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner. Fighting out of Harrow, England. He stands at 173 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 68 kilograms. He has an undefeated pro record of 2 fights and 2 wins. PK Zade! Our referee in charge of the action is Madeline Fagerlind. Let's get down to business.
There we see the tail of the tape. Sebastian PK, the older by 5 years. Everything else is virtually identical. I cannot wait for this fight.
This should be great. A lot of people are talking about PK Zade, and here he's got a chance to really prove himself against a young, I would say a hungry lion, but instead we've got a Nigerian Jaguar looking to make a meal out of PK Zade. Nice right hand there.
Gets caught. That's the perfect counter to the southpaw, but PK in for that shot, in on the single. This is a young man who trains with some of the best grapplers in the UK. Trains with the likes of 2019 80cc qualifier Ross Nichols. But good defense so far from the Nigerian Jaguar.
Definitely, and obviously he had to know this was coming because despite, as I alluded to before, the amateur boxing of PK Zade, it truly is grappling that it is his bread and butter, and it's where he truly shines. So I know for a fact that Idoa has been practicing a lot of takedown defense, and he's doing a fantastic job now, landing on top position over the experienced grappler PK Zade. Nice work from a Nigerian Jaguar.
This is a huge feather in the cap of Vasiodo, but you can see PK intelligently trying to work for half guard back, gets it so cleanly. That's what I mean, he's always working, and you can see, even at 2-0 as a pro, you can see just how calm PK is on the bottom.
Yeah, and look how he's constantly hooking the leg, getting back to half, because Ido did pass very briefly into side mount, or side control, but now he finds himself once again in half guard.
Vasiodo doing a great job of just to pressure down with that shin to try and establish the crucifix position, but PK gets the guard back.
And I think the Nigerian Jaguar should be a little bit careful now, because he doesn't want to end up.
He has the back! Has the back with the body lock, may work for the rear naked choke, but Vasiodo does well to turn into it.
And he adds a little extra slam there to it as well for his troubles. Nice defense there from Ido.
And you can see Vasiodo just has that arm underneath the back of PK, grasping onto that hip to immobilize the movement of PK Neda. Nice work to frame off here from PK. He's up on the elbow.
And PK Zade has been keeping busy. He's been training all throughout quarantine. He was actually supposed to fight a different opponent on a different date, but for him it was no problem facing Ido here tonight.
And he's up onto the hands. Can he create that frame again and stand up? Vasiodo trying to bring that frame out from underneath PK.
He's doing a good job at neutralizing PK Zade right now. I like the knees to the thigh as well. Staying busy, keeping your opponent guessing. Very nice performance from Vasiodo right now, who's really neutralizing his opponent's strength.
Great work from PK to get back up. And that's bound to give Vasiodo some confidence, knowing that he can get the fight to the ground. But head kick there from PK. Double underhooks, here comes the trip.
Oh, there we have it. And now we get to see PK Zade in top position. Let's see how Vasiodo's defense is from the bottom.
As I say, this is a young man that trains with some of the best grapplers. IBJJF European Brown Belt champ Din Bukalet. He also trains with GB Wrestling team members. He's just relentless when he gets in these positions.
But I gotta say, nice work from Vasiodo once again, getting back to feet. But again, PK Zade plants him on his rear end.
That's just gravity, really. What goes up must come down. And from here, needs to be wary of taking the back. Has one hook in. Corner PK calling for body head, but he's slowly trying to slip that arm underneath the chin. Vasiodo defends, goes 2-on-1 in the arm. May look to try and baseball bat swing that arm over his own head and turn into PK.
He's doing a good job defensively so far at neutralizing the attack.
He's trying to swing that arm over and get underneath PK, wise to it.
And again, he takes the back. He's in a much better position now as well. Still only one hook in, but you can get the submission with just one hook.
He's trying to flatten him out, loosen him up with those strikes. Still has that hook. Vasiodo doing everything he can to defend, but then gives up the position by turning in towards PK.
And that's good defense. And also Pikazade, he did have the fence working against him a little bit. It is harder to get the choke when you can't really pull back your opponent properly.
Again, it's kind of a pick your poison position. If you turn away, you give up the back. If you turn in, you're giving up that anchor position, half guard, and worst case scenario mount.
Here we've got Pikazade taking the back momentarily. I think we had a bit of a fence grab there, a little bit hard to see. Knees to the head. I mean, he is just tenacious, is Pikazade, just pouring the pressure on.
They try and just pick off that ankle and bring Vasiodo away from the cage. Very smart wrestling. Big, heavy punches being landed by PK just to punctuate the round. Get it? Punctuate the round.
You are a man of puns. And that was a great first round. I mean, while Pikazade definitely had a lot of his stronger moments, I mean, some moral victories there for Vasiodo, managing to get up to his feet several times and even landing in top position, putting the grappler on the back. And here we've got some of those highlights from the first round.
Yeah, definitely, Sebastian. PK didn't have it all his own way. Yes, he did manage to get the fight into the realm which he wanted. A feather in the cap, getting the fight to the ground and being on top for Vasiodo, but then eventually succumbed to the power of the wrestler that is Pikazade.
And he showed a nice lead head kick there, and I think that kicks is something that Pikazade probably can and should throw a little bit more, because I think he's just so comfortable in the top or on the ground, but I think he can definitely throw a little bit more kicks and not necessarily be worried about them being caught.
PK's prowling. Maybe his nickname should be the Jaguar with the amount of prowling he's doing. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, PK coming from that southpaw stance, so expect to see him unleash a straight left at some point, right down the pipe.
Hurrying to take the center of the octagon is Pikazade. And there we have the shot. It took just 2 strikes, but well defended so far from Vasiodo.
But this again is what I'm saying with PK is he doesn't give up on the attack. He changed from the double leg, switched to the single. Now he's in top position.
And it is just draining to face an opponent like that. That gives you not a single second of rest. You have no time to collect yourself, to reset. When you're constantly being put on a defensive like that, it is extremely exhausting. And I think we will see the result.
About what to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is what we said before about him being such a cerebral fighter. And he's working again. It looked like he was momentarily trying to take the backward for the rear naked choke again, but Ido defends, putting his back against the cage, eliminating that possibility.
Has that hook in again, may just use it to control now, and he seamlessly just moves, almost ghosting towards the back of Vasiodo.
And he's creeping towards the back via the fence. So he's definitely a good job just sneaking his way over.
Slowly that arm looked like it could have just sneaked underneath.
Nido fighting the hands of Pikazade, which is a good move. And he uses it to actually stand up momentarily. Let's see if he can remain.
PK has those double unders. You could see a backward trip, may just shelf off his own leg and pull Vasiodo over it. Vasiodo doing a good job to try and work in for his own underhooks.
And he needs to try to separate it because he can't, I mean, he's done a good job at getting to his feet, but he hasn't been able to remain standing for too long before Pikazade gets an overtake. And very close getting the trip there with Pikazade.
And you can see these guys are like two giraffes just trying to gain the dominant head position.
Yeah.
Again, you cannot headbutt in mixed martial arts, but you can use it for pressure. That's a beautiful trip, because where the head goes, the body is sure to follow, Sebastian.
9 times out of 10, that is the case. Depends on the head kick that preceded it.
Again, you can see a trip here coming in from Zade, and I like what he's
takes a toll on your body, and he does look a little bit worse for wear now. I mean, he's not out of a fight. He's definitely got a lot of power, but he can throw. But he has just been put in so many defensive positions that I gotta think that his cardio is starting to suffer.
Again, the double underhooks are established. The hands are connected. And there's that, almost got the shelf trip.
That was a close one, and that was really just, I mean, balance and strength from Vasiodo that prevent.
Wasio does a great job to get up, but again to PK with those double under. Fight.
Absolutely. About 40 seconds left here, and it has been a one-sided affair so far in the second round.
And for me, this is all about the MMA intellect that we talk about with PK. This is an investment going into the final round. This is an investment going into the latter stages of a fight.
And I think that this very, very dominant grappling can and will also open up his striking, because when you are so focused on your opponent taking you down, you will naturally drop your hands a little bit, and you're not really expecting those strikes to come. That's why I think we might see a return of that high kick that we saw in the earlier part of the first round.
Again, just trying to establish a little bit of striking game in the closing stanzas of the round.
And no question as to who won that round. That was a landslide of offense coming from PK Zade there, and he looks ready to go right away.
We see a little bit of action from that round. Beautiful leg kick to open up, just to set up the takedown. But again, Wasio is hanging in there on some of these wrestling exchanges. You have to give the man credit.
Absolutely. I mean, he look at that. I mean, that's just pure strength there. And yeah, definitely credit where credit is due. He's doing a very good job against a fantastic grappler, but it's all defense so far. He's got to get some offense going if he's going to leave the cage with a win. He's down 2 rounds. He's got to make something happen here. He's got to turn the tide of battle. Nice little show of respect and sportsmanship there. And I think he is being possibly warned there about fence grabs, because have been 2 instances where it seems like he has grabbed the fence.
And again, sprinting over is PK. Zade again on that takedown, but the underhook there was primed and ready for Wasio in that over-under position, clamping down with the overhook.
Some interesting coaching from Vasiodo's corner, who shouted, "You have to kill him now." That's one way of putting it for sure.
Nice knees in the clinch there. Again, level change into that single, tying up the legs, doing a great job of elevating the legs above the head. Needs to take away that posting frame. Great work from Wasio to get back to his feet.
Great job posting up there. I mean, he's had all his weight put on his one arm, and he still managed to get up. But still, he's once again in a defensive position. He's once again with his back against the cage. And okay, yeah, it was very close getting taken down there. But once again, strength and balance there from Vasiodo. But the Nigerian Jaguar needs to get out in the open.
Again, if PK can connect the hands here, momentarily had them touching but not connected. Wasio doing all the right things, but has that Kimura grip, uses it to disengage.
There we have it. And now let's see. He's got to get something going on the feet now.
Again,
Great sprawl.
Big heavy sprawl, grabs the neck. That's huge for Wasio. What kind of offense can he mount from this position?
I've got to wonder if this is the right move, because we did see earlier on that even from the bottom, Piquezade can quickly turn things around. And I just don't know if he'll be able to open up enough for Vasiodo to really get a finish here, even in top position.
PK reclaims full guard here. The guard is open. Watch for a shift of the hips. He may be trying to set something up by creating an angle of his own.
And even so, like Vasiodo, he hasn't really managed to get off a whole lot of offense even here.
Watch out for digging in for either the switch or potentially a Kimura trap.
Confidence from the corner of Vasiodo saying, you're strong, he will not be able to get you off of him. And he's right in front of his corner, so this is his time to shine. He's got about half the round left. He's got to really get some offense going.
PK trying to get his back to the cage and use the wall to do a little bit of walking up. Thinking about hitting that switch. May turn defense into offense here.
Let's see. Okay, back on the feet they are. And I feel like, yeah, Vasiodo, he seems energized now. That was definitely a moral victory that he needed. Very good sprawl there, but again, he finds himself with his back against the cage.
Hands connected. Could see a big flare double coming up here. Opts to take the back instead. Wasio needs to be careful with that schoolyard headlock. It's just such a relentless style from PK Sebastian.
Absolutely. I mean, he's just swarming Vasiodo, not giving him any space, not giving him any time to work or reset. And like I mentioned, it's just draining. And I gotta say, hats off to Piquezade too, because even if, I mean, if we can tell how strong Vasiodo is, and to handle a man like that with in the way that Piquezade is, it is truly impressive.
Again, just in that jarring, draining 50-50 over-under position. Again, as we often say, it may look like not a lot of action's taking place right here, but you have an unstoppable force against an immovable object, and they're both trying to expend their energy upon one another, try and force their will.
Exactly. But this truly has been the story of a fight. Piquezade putting the pressure on Vasiodo, not giving him any room to breathe and just constricting him like an anaconda. I mean, he's just constantly on him, constantly making his opponent work, constantly keeping him guessing.
He may try and run the pipe on this single if he can get it. Again, the sustainability of strength has really surprised me in Wasio, and we have to give him credit for that.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got to eat my words, because I was thinking at first that he wouldn't retain his strength in the third round, but he actually looks like he has done so admirably.
30 seconds to go in the closing stanzas of this fight. Will PK be happy to control position en route to a 3-round decision, or can Wasio do something by breaking off and landing that Hail Mary shot, Sebastian?
We've seen crazier things, honestly. We've seen crazier things happen in MMA. Final 10 seconds. Let's see if we get one of those crazy happenings. It looks, however, like Piquezade will cruise to another victory.
There you have it. Both men embrace. They've shared something very special in here tonight. You know a man a little bit better. I'm going to say a lot more than you did in the beginning once you shared 15 minutes with him in the cage.
Absolutely. I can 100% agree with that. And great show of sportsmanship between these two warriors. They really left it all in there. And wow, once again, another dominant performance from Piquezade.
PK just came over and was double checking our interpretation of the fight. We can't give too much away, but he's confident he has the decision.
I mean, we are not the judges, but we are pretty much in unison here as to how the fight went. Strong, strong performance from Piquezade, really implementing his strengths in the best possible way.
But at 2-0, I think we're only really scratching the surface of this young man's potential.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, what an awesome show of skill in our very first contest here for Brave CF38. After 3 rounds of non-stop action, we consult the judges' scorecards. I can tell you it is a unanimous decision. And he's still undefeated in the red corner, PK Zadeh!
No surprise there. Yet a lot of relief from PK Zadeh, it seems, but wow, what a performance. Just truly dominant.
I'm not sure if that was relief or catharsis right there. Just that
True.
For somebody who's so cerebral, who's so composed in fight week, so composed in the fight, to have that moment where you can let those emotions out and you can really just see what it means to the young man right now.
Well, I mean, he's deserved it. He puts in so much work, not just on the maps, but also as an analyst, also breaking down fights, becoming a better fighter by seeing the techniques that are used inside the cage. He is just filled with emotion right now.
This is why I love this sport, is because you can see how much this means to the fighters. You can see how much this means to the individual. There's a misconception that these guys are just hard-headed fighters. These are human beings with feelings, with aspirations, and then to see just that outpouring of emotion from a professional fighter, I think it's genuinely wonderful.
Absolutely. It's warming my heart as we speak. It is a little bit contagious, the emotion being shown there. It's hard not to feel good for such a hard and clinical worker like PK Zadeh, who really puts in all the time that is needed to become a better fighter, constantly evolving.
For the first time tonight, as part of our Brave CF38 Bulldog Fight Night card, let's send it up to Lance Murdoch to keep things running over.
Next up, we continue the action with a bantamweight bout. Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of professional mixed martial arts in this bantamweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Stockholm, Sweden. He stands at 171 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 61.5 kilograms, making his pro debut, Moeb Azizi! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner. Also fighting out of Stockholm, Sweden. He stands at 167 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 61 kilograms. Also making his pro debut, Johnny Tuma! Deck Larkin is in charge of the action. Let's get down to business.
Here we see the tail of the tape. 26 years old versus 20 years old. Slight height advantage going to Moeb.
Dekiva Bandit Larkin in charge of the action here in the second bout of the main card.
Let's do this.
And there we go. Johnny Tuma representing Pancrase Gym here in Stockholm.
And you can see that Kyokushin karate background straight away by that wide, long, pawing stance for Moeb.
Absolutely, and there is something about the popularity of traditional martial arts in Afghanistan, both Taekwondo, karate, very popular. There's actually a local celebrity in Kabul called the Afghan Bruce Lee. Looks and sounds exactly like him, and moves like him too.
Nice range management so far by Johnny. He's evading those kicks and trying to come back with something of his own. Oh, that's a huge kick. Nearly sends Moeb across the octagon.
The first truly significant strike of a fight, and wow, was it significant. Really got Moeb Azizi off balance there. Loading up that front side kick was Johnny Tuma, just barely missed it.
A lot of stance switching coming in here from Moeb, trying to give his opponent different looks, but so far he's having a little bit of difficulty finding his range.
And we hear from the corner of Moeb Azizi asking for a little bit like more jabs, trying to set things up, because so far they're leading with their kicks.
He needs to be careful when he's throwing that kick of dropping his lead hand. You can see Tuma tried to get the measure of it there with the big overhand. Needs to keep his guard sensible in situations like that.
And look at the redness on the leg of Moeb Azizi after that. I mean, it was just like a free kick in football that Tuma loaded up there.
Tuma looking loose, like he's really starting to find his groove in there, enjoying it. Oh, that's a big shot!
Not only could we hear that, it's like I felt the vibrations all the way here across the cage.
Moeb showing that trademark Afghan toughness by taking it. Already a little bit of swelling coming up on the side of the head.
Oh,
again,
what a right hand.
That's a huge shot, Sebastian.
I mean, you got to think that Azizi's chin is made out of granite.
And on the single, done well to mix up the striking into the wrestling.
But good job from Azizi getting back to his feet. And in his corner, we have Swedish veteran Bobby Danger Rehman, true veteran and pioneer of the Swedish MMA scene.
Landed a nice stiff knee in the clinch, did Moeb Azizi.
And Azizi's corner asking for more pressure, asking for him to charge Tuma down.
And I like what Johnny's doing. He's changing levels a lot. He's throwing feints. He's threatening with that big overhand predicated off the level change, which is very smart.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job at avoiding damage, landing a lot of hard strikes of his own.
Azizi now with a little bit more urgency. Again, big single.
Wow.
Parlays that right into side control on the opposite side. Azizi needs to be careful, let go of the neck, but look at how Johnny Tuma solidifies the position.
Slam, bang, thank you, man. Talk about an impressive takedown. And stepping right into full mount. Wow, very nicely done from Johnny Tuma.
That was like a hot knife through butter. Could be in on the armbar. Oh, that's tight. That looks so tight. He's really hipping into that. Azizi trying to step over. Great defensive work by Azizi. What an exchange.
That was very nicely done from both fighters, really. I mean, Tuma set it up so nicely, and Azizi got away so clean. But he does have a cut now on his right side. So far, nothing that seems like it will affect his vision, but we'll see after some grappling exchanges that could change.
This is such an interesting fight. And what timing we've noticed from Tuma. Coming off the punches from Azizi, he dips underneath, gets a takedown, needs to be wary of a guillotine here.
Nice knee there to end the exchange. But look at that Afghan toughness there. You got Azizi just continuously walking his opponent down.
Just marching forward, putting a lot into that punch.
And it's hard when you're facing somebody like that, but it really just throws caution out the window. Continues charging forward. I mean, it can be disheartening.
Oh, spinning back fist, dropped him! Beautiful shot from Tuma.
Wow, how did Azizi survive that? It looked like he was out for a moment, but he is right back on his feet and looks just as calm as he was before.
Azizi has to be one of the toughest guys in Swedish MMA.
Absolutely.
He's telegraphing the low kicks ever so slightly by looking at them. Just grazes with a leg kick or head kick to Tuma.
Yeah, landed with mostly just the toes and the foot there, which, I mean, it can do damage, but you really want to get the shin in there.
Nice and relaxed again.
Oh, and again!
Back fist. And again, Azizi just eats it like he's at a buffet, as much as you want.
Wow, what an exciting round. And I gotta say, both guys are truly impressing me. The technique of Johnny Tuma and the toughness of Azizi.
So if you're in the corner of Johnny Tuma right now, you have to be thinking, what do we need to do to get this guy out of there? Aside from bringing in a baseball bat and chinning the dude.
That was exactly what I was thinking of as well. Can we allow some weapons? No, we cannot. But we do have a true veteran as well in the corner of Johnny Tuma, Nico Musoke. One of the best in the business, and also one who has led the way for Swedish MMA.
That spinning back fist landed flush, and you have to look at that little wrestling exchange, that little jiu-jitsu exchange, where it looked like Tuma had the incredibly tight armbar. Azizi took his time.
Yeah.
He didn't freak out. He didn't try and power out. He realized the position he was in and stepped over it and defended very well.
Absolutely, and I think we've seen a lot of the experience of both guys really materialize here in the form of Azizi's just defense, as you mentioned, the way he stayed cool in that really tough situation. I mean, lesser fighters would not have been able to get out as smoothly as Azizi did.
Johnny Tuma biting at the bit, has to be sent back to his corner by Dick the Bandit Larkin. Here we go.
What an explosive fight we've seen so far. Two really promising fighters, leaving it all in there. I'd like to see some more variety from Azizi in striking. Maybe set some of his kicks up with some strikes.
Again, he's trying to pull out that job, and I think he's just struggling with that in and out range finding of Johnny Tuma. He's landing his strikes, he's getting out.
That was another hard leg kick from Johnny Tuma. And you saw that immediately after Azizi switched stance quickly. He's back now.
Yeah, and that essentially says that, yes, I'm feeling those.
Absolutely.
But again, the facial expression of Azizi has not changed one little bit, regardless of the type of strikes he's absorbing.
I mean, he is tough. Just true. Wow.
Just shy with the uppercut, but charge him forward. Nice defense this time by Azizi in that 50-50 position, that grueling, wearing position.
Tuma manages to turn it around briefly, but strong knee there from Azizi, and they break.
Good stiff jab from Moeeb there. He needs to do a little bit more of that and perhaps follow it up.
I mean, so far, Tuma, he's doing pretty much everything right. I mean, he's, okay, those are some swinging from a bleachers there as like a baseball pitcher. But he has been doing everything right, and now we see a takedown attempt from Azizi.
Back take from Azizi. Potentially could get the trip here, but you see straight away Tuma lowers his level, turns into his opponent, now digging in for those underhooks.
That is fantastic defense from Tuma, really turning the position around.
Watch him to pick the low ankle and just rip that out. But good work there, hitting hard on that whizzer.
Nice work from Azizi there.
Azizi again now has a double underhooks. Johnny does well to roll, and that is beautiful defensive work from Johnny Tuma.
This fight is making me sweat with excitement because they are just switching from position to position, intense striking exchanges. I mean, it's a fight with everything.
I think what Johnny Tuma has hinted at a few times was the level change to fake the takedown and come over the top. He's looking down a lot. He's giving almost those little feints. He may be trying just to get that bite, that reaction from Azizi, then come over the top.
Oh, he dug to the body there, did Johnny Tuma. Nice strike.
Oh, comes up top with a head kick.
I like the leading knee there from Azizi, but very nicely countered from Johnny Tuma.
Clean 1-2 landed by Tuma. But again, if you're Johnny Tuma, like you don't want to punch yourself out in a situation like that, because we've already established that Azizi can take a licking and keep on ticking.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is where Johnny Tuma needs to stay calm and collected. Nice job there at avoiding the telegraphed kick by Azizi.
Runs the pipe beautifully on that single leg.
Once again, he will pass to full mount.
And from here, he's just taking his time, establishing position, making his opponent do the work to cover and carry his weight.
Let's see if he can get some ground and pound going.
Oh, big hammer fist to the body. And he's happy right now to force Azizi to do the work. So this is a draining position for the man on the bottom.
And that is a smart move from Johnny Tuma because he has thrown so much at Azizi and he has kept on coming. So why not tire him out a little bit, force him to expend some energy, and then go for your offense. Again, speaking to the experience of Johnny Tuma on the amateur scene.
And you have to give credit to Azizi for... Oh, was that an illegal knee to the head?
It definitely looked like it.
From where we were...
Over here.
Moeeb Azizi doesn't seem to mind at all. He's just looking at the referee with the same expression.
How tough is Moeeb Azizi?
See the replay? Knee to the head. Over here. Doctor.
From our vantage position, that definitely looked like an illegal knee to the head.
Sure did.
Did look like a grounded fighter. And I'm sure it was just maybe a little bit of over-exasperation on the part of Johnny Tuma.
It has been an intense fight, an explosive fight with a lot of quick turnarounds. Johnny Tuma is not a dirty fighter. I think he just got caught in a moment.
And we'll just see if we can get the replay of that. And it's just as Moeeb Azizi is working his way to get up. Yeah, definitely a grounded opponent.
Definitely an illegal knee there.
Okay, happy enough.
Apology there from Johnny Tuma. Speaking to what I said before, he's not a dirty fighter, not by any means. I mean, Moeeb Azizi was on his way up. I'm sure that's what Johnny Tuma thought as well, that he had gotten to his feet already.
And I don't even think he's gained any kind of advantage from it, because Moeeb Azizi just looks exactly the same. I'm not even sure it made a dent.
Yeah.
Cleaner boxing definitely coming from Johnny Tuma, but the heart and effort, the relentlessness, the fortitude definitely lies with Moeeb Azizi in this fight.
I mean, I don't know what's more impressive, his chin or his heart, because he has both in droves. I mean, I wish he would have a little bit more volume with his strikes, because he's kind of just throwing singular strikes and kicks, and if he just mixes it up a little bit more, I think he could have some more success.
And he's telegraphing those kicks ever so slightly, so by the time that they've been thrown and they've been let out of the holster, Johnny Tuma's out of the way. He's been threatening with those oblique kicks a couple of times. Oh, that's another big shot, but Azizi just stands looking at his opponent.
I mean, he's just collecting knockout strikes like coupons or punch cards, and then a kick that seemed to land.
It's a shin to the chin.
And then a 1-2 directly afterwards. I mean, Johnny Tuma is just throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Moab Azizi.
Genuinely, I think the most frustration is going to be in the corner of the fighter that's winning this fight.
I think so too.
Because he cannot put this man away. He has a granite chin. You see some of the wrestling exchanges being had here, and this is probably the most effective that we've seen Azizi in the fight.
Yeah.
He had that position, he got the back, but it was defended very well by Johnny.
If he just
Tuma.
gotten a little bit more levitation, he could have gotten it down. He maybe just got a little wrapped up in the heat of it, and there we have another grappling exchange.
There you see the attempt to spin a back kick, and then a beautiful single leg. Just runs the pipe beautifully on it.
Fantastic technique there from Johnny Tuma. I did completely the right thing, recognized the attack that was coming, and then countered perfectly.
Let's go, corners, please leave.
And Moab Azizi looks just as ready to go now as he did in the first round.
Cage door just being closed. Referee Deck the Bandit Larkin getting the boys started for the third and final round. What do you think? More of the same from Johnny?
I mean, that's the thing is he's doing
everything he should be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like he just happens to be facing a fighter just with immortal toughness here.
Azizi starting off with a little bit more offense here. May look to dive on Johnny. Gets caught with an up kick, but keeps coming forward.
I gotta wonder if maybe one or two of those up kicks were technically against a grounded opponent.
And like many of the fights we've seen so far tonight, it's up to the fighter who's perhaps losing in the third and final round to really take it, to really be the aggressor against his opponent.
And Azizi's corner calling for him to move forward, saying eat the leg kick if you have to, just give a counter.
That's a huge shot from Johnny Tuma.
How is he standing?
And as we say, Tuma's doing absolutely, like, if this was any other fight, it would be first round walk-off.
Absolutely, yeah. Hands down. I mean, I wish I could do anything as good as Moab Azizi eats a shot here.
Moab Azizi even has time to fix his hair before recomposing himself and charging forward. And now he's chasing Johnny Tuma, and that was a beautifully timed takedown. Waits to the forward momentum of his opponent coming forward, uses that against him to score the takedown.
And Johnny Tuma's just done such a good job at making sure that he stays out of range for Aziz, because Aziz, if he gets comfortable with the striking range, I mean, he really can and will make his opponents pay. But Johnny Tuma has been really getting out of range just in time and countering perfectly.
Steps over, could step over into the side control position or through into the mount. He seems to be happy just in this anchor position that's been so popular in recent mixed martial arts. Landing big strikes to the body.
And once again, Azizi doing a good job at getting up.
There
we have it.
Unequivocally, there is no quit in this young man.
No. I think he will definitely would like to continue fighting past the third round if given the chance.
I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny Tuma's hurt his hand on this guy's head.
Yeah.
Again, in on the single. Beautiful work from Tuma. May just skip over into mount or the side control position.
And I gotta say, because we've been talking a lot about how disheartening it can be to face an opponent that is as tenacious and tough as Moab Azizi, but Johnny Tuma really is taking it like a champ.
And he's not getting frustrated. He's not really deviating from the game plan. He has a single-minded focus, and you can see the application of that. Land the shots, try and get, could be in for another armbar. Oh, switches to the triangle potentially.
Let's see.
This is huge. If he underhooks the right leg here, he could get a little bit more purchase on it. Switches to the armbar, but again, big up kick.
Time. Stand on your feet.
I'm not quite sure if that was an illegal up kick.
That's another up kick. He's on the
I
ground.
think Azizi may have been in the squatted position.
Oh, and where we? Yeah, 1 point taken from Johnny Tuma.
1 point. Okay. Don't do it once more and you're disqualified, okay? Don't do it again.
And this can absolutely alter the picture of a fight now.
Red corner.
Get a little bit of a... No, we're not going to get the replay of that.
Are you okay?
Be interesting to see. Again, I'm not 100% sure. These things happen in a split second.
Yeah.
Okay, time in. Let's go.
And Mo Azizi not taking any time.
1 minute 45 left in the round. Big step in knee by Azizi.
Oh, what a strike. How is Mo Azizi eating these?
Again, beautiful single from Johnny Tuma. Knows he's winning the fight right now. Doesn't need to do anything rash. Just seamlessly slides through into side control.
And see if he advances to full mount again. But no, Mo Azizi does a very nice... Oh, yeah, and...
May escape out the back, but could...
And he does, wow. Great work there from Mo Azizi. And he's really got to put the pressure on now and make Johnny Tuma pay if he's going to be able to turn this around.
Oh! This is beautiful mixed martial arts, but now Tuma absolutely unloaded. These two are warriors in the cage tonight.
I'm truly in awe at watching the action unfolding in front of us here. It is hard to call the action because there is just so much happening.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Brave Nation, I'm telling you right now, as soon as the buzzer goes in this fight, these two gentlemen are getting a standing ovation from me.
Oh, same here.
But just the presence of mind to throw that flying knee. Tuma again right into the mount position. This fight has everything you would want in a mixed martial arts.
And from two debutants as well. I mean, these guys have such a bright future ahead of them.
If the veteran pros are watching this in the back, they will know that they need to put in a huge performance.
Yes. What a fight. Just
head kick! Outstanding.
That
what
was...
a fight from these two warriors.
I am at a loss for words, which is not good for a commentator, but wow, that was impressive. Both guys just leaving it all inside the cage. Just a granite chin for Mo Azizi.
As we said, John, and credit has to go to Johnny Tuma.
Oh,
he did absolutely everything he conceivably could to try and get Mo Azizi out of this fight. But again, it speaks to the fortitude, it speaks to the chin, the heart, the will, the desire of Mo Azizi that he stayed in for 15 minutes.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, both these two fighters have such a bright future ahead of them, and they really showed it in here. I mean, Johnny Tuma just did everything so well, and Mo Azizi, heart of a warrior, just thundering on and just keeping things going. And it kind of looks like he could go another couple of rounds even now.
I know it sounds strange to say, but if anything, what he's done in potentially a losing effort is further enhanced his reputation.
Absolutely.
He may be an 0-1 professional fighter, but I doubt there's very many people saying, yeah, I want to fight that guy.
Oh my. It was exhausting just watching him go forward.
Seb, I need a breather. Let's throw it up to Lance for the official decision.
Blood, sweat, and tears, ladies and gentlemen. What an awesome display from these two warriors making their pro debut. However, only one can be victorious. We consult the judges' scorecards once again. It is a unanimous decision. To the red corner, Johnny Tuma!
The outcome does not tell the story of the fight. Yes, a unanimous decision victory, but this was by no means a walkover. This was by no means a steamroller of an effort.
No, I mean, truly, both fighters got their opportunity to shine. I mean, Johnny Tuma just proving why he has been such a talked-about prospect here in Sweden, and why so many people have been longing to see his pro debut. He really proved why. And he was actually supposed to make his pro debut earlier this year. I, for one, am truly glad that that didn't happen, that we were privileged enough to be able to see the action unfold here.
And speaking of the action, let's take another look at it. Just relentless marauding forward from Johnny Tuma, but I've never seen that kind of resilience. Like, he was in some horrible positions. He was in positions where he could have been knocked out. He could have got his arm popped quite easily in this position.
Definitely. And oh, wow, that spinning back fist. I mean, any lesser fighter would have stayed down after that.
But then he popped right back up. Again, that speaks to the cardio and a backflip in the cage from Johnny Tuma. What a fight, man.
Oh,
what
it's going to be hard to top that action.
But top it, we will try indeed.
I mean, just, okay, yeah, there was the illegal knee. And just heart and toughness and tenacity from Azizi just kept on coming like a zombie.
And potentially a few illegal up kicks there.
Yeah.
But as I say, we have the benefit of replaying situations like this. There we see the attempted triangle, and I'm not quite sure if there were illegal up kicks from this position. Oh no, that's a great call from the referee.
Yeah.
That's because from our vantage point, we weren't 100% sure.
Yeah.
He had a knee down. Dickie Larkin, take a bow, sir. That was a fantastic call.
Proving why he's one of the best in the business.
Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of professional mixed martial arts in this catchweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Halmstad, Sweden. He stands at 177 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 71.6 kilograms with a pro record of 4 wins and 5 losses. Robert Fat Bobby Nystrom! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner. Fighting out of Copenhagen, Denmark. He stands at 180 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 71.8 kilograms. He has a pro record of 1 fight. He is undefeated. Yakim Sonic Yankovic! Our referee in charge of the action is Anders Olsen. Let's get down to business.
Here we see the tail of the tape. Both men similar and age, height, and weight. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup.
Yeah, I think both their styles speak for this knockout of a distance. And Anders Taxi Olsen in charge of the action here, the third man in the cage. Both guys, there is definitely some tension in the air here, as Sweden versus Denmark is a classic rivalry.
Robert Nystrom challenging Shorty Torres for some of the best eyebrows in the game.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice big straight down the pipe coming from that southpaw position is Nystrom.
And I spoke to Nystrom about the Sweden-Denmark rivalry. He said it's always fun to beat up on the Danes.
Nystrom with that BJJ purple belt, but that's not to say that Yankovic is not a decorated grappler. He is a 3-time Danish national judo champion, a Danish national MMA champion at amateur, so we could see some interesting exchanges in the clinch here, Seb.
Absolutely. And Nystrom became a father just 10 months ago. He said it hasn't necessarily changed his outlook on fighting as such.
Yankovic just seems to be trying to settle in that slow, stalking kind of pace. Always need to be wary when you're coming in against a southpaw fighter, just in case that big overhand or that straight down the pipe. Nice lead uppercut there. And what I've noticed as a hallmark of Nystrom's game is he almost looks nonchalant on there, borderline disinterested, but then sparks to life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that, you know, will catch opponents off guard. I remember when he was fighting power puncher Muhammad Habal, it was almost like, you know, Habal felt, oh, this guy isn't really here, I can pour it on. And Nystrom managed to turn it around and get a submission win.
Double underhooks established here by Sonic. Again, using wonderful head control, trying to reap the leg. Good balance being exhibited here by Robert Nystrom. Again, this wearing 50-50 position. You can see Nystrom trying to dig in for his own underhook. But you've got to think, if he gets taken down to the ground, it's not the worst case, not the worst thing to happen to him.
No, I mean, in general, I mean, all of his wins are by submission. So, I mean, he's definitely comfortable on the ground.
Right now, he's trying to power in. Has the back. Does Yankovic. Nystrom breaking the grip here, may try and sit through on it or turn in.
And Nystrom started just completely with MMA, no specialist martial arts experience. So he said that the only thing he's really been doing a lot before that was table tennis.
Transitioning from table tennis to mixed martial arts, from the sublime to the ridiculous. Wonderful. Or perhaps the other way around, from the ridiculous to the sublime.
Yeah.
Might be more accurate. Nice work from Yankovic here to soften up the legs and the thighs of Nystrom.
And this, I mean, if there is a certain knock on Nystrom's game, it can be that he, at times, can be a bit of a slow starter. Yes. Oh,
big takedown from Yankovic. But again, the BJJ purple belt will be no stranger to being in these types of positions.
Absolutely. He is comfortable on the ground. This is hard knees though to the midsection there from Yankovic.
Again, it's a very, very smart tactic being implemented by Yankovic here. Constantly wear on your opponent. Try and get them gassed out. Try and take the power away from the legs.
But there we have a grappling experience. Robert Nystrom turning around and getting a takedown of his own.
That's a huge takedown. Lands inside the open guard of Yankovic.
Right here in front of our broadcast position as well. Let's see what Nystrom can do from top position.
You see he has that arm underneath the waist, just immobilizing the hips of Yankovic. Yankovic has that overhook, trying to clamp down on it. Nystrom just being methodical, may try and shake that leg out and establish side control. The big shots being landed. He may be creeping in for a guillotine. Lets it go and again tries to establish the position. That's high jiu-jitsu intelligence.
Absolutely.
Right there.
I was thinking it's smart from Robert Nystrom to just remain calm there in that and just continuing to pursue other avenues in the grappling.
Again, may look to just swivel the hips here, free him off and land those elbows.
And with only half a minute left to work, I gotta wonder if perhaps going for a lot of ground and pound might be the best option here.
Nystrom in on a single leg, gets it, and the gentlemen trade positions. But Nystrom has that neck. Will he go? Can he get the guillotine guard? Get that knee shield in and the leg across the back. He's working for it.
Looks tight.
Oh, he's close.
That looks tight.
He's close to guard. That looks tight.
Oh! That is it!
Guillotine.
He is out!
How tight is the squeeze of fat Bobby Robert Nystrom?
Robert Nystrom returns to the win column in a big way, chokes Yankovic unconscious.
That happened instantaneously. Usually you see fighters perhaps having to try and adjust with that guillotine. That tells you everything you need to know about the squeeze of Robert Nystrom.
I think the teacher, Robert Nystrom, just gave us all a lesson in unconsciousness.
Wow.
What a performance. Because honestly, look at the fight up until then, and Yankovic was the one pressing the action. He was the one in top position more often than not. But Robert Nystrom is a crafty guy.
What a back and forth battle, a first round war. Here you see he has the position. It doesn't look crazy tight. He has one arm. Is it one arm in? No, a power guillotine he gets, clasping the hands.
And there already.
And what I love about the technique of that, it wasn't just the hand underneath the chin.
Yeah.
He got it all the way so the blade was underneath the chin so that he was compressing not just the throat but the carotid artery, and there, elementary, Yankovic passes
Ladies and
out.
gentlemen, there's no need to check the judges' scorecards on that one. Our referee, Mr. Anders Olsen, stopped the action in the closing seconds at 4 minutes 46 of round one. And the winner, by way of guillotine, in the blue corner, Robert Fat Bobby Nystrom!
What a performance from Robert Fat Bobby Nystrom. Great show of sportsmanship as well, and it really just speaks to how strong of a grappler he is.
As soon as he got that position, and again, as you said, it speaks to the quality of his grappling. Not only that, but the confidence he has in his grappling.
Because there was just, 20 seconds, maybe less left to go in the round, and he just decided to go for it. A lot of the times it doesn't necessarily pay off going for such a late submission because you don't have time to adjust it properly. But Nystrom did not need a lot of time.
Here we're seeing the replay of what unfolded before us just moments ago. Big takedown from Yankovic, and these men were so evenly contested that they traded many positions. It was real back and forth up until that point.
But while he did win the fight, I think there is a risk that Robert Nystrom loses the tattoo bet that he has with his teammates Ula and David Jacobson. And there is a finish. Wow.
That really is sumptuous jiu-jitsu. Point of the blade, clean underneath.
More catchweight action up next here at Brave CF38, ladies and gentlemen. Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of professional mixed martial arts in the catchweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Halmstad, Sweden. He stands at 185 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 74 kilograms. with a professional record of 6 wins and 2 losses, David Fat Boy Slim Jacobson! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner, fighting out of Stockholm, Sweden. He stands at 174 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 73 kilograms. He has an undefeated pro record of 2 fights and 2 wins. Dilmarod Kamikaze Mavlonov! Our referee in charge of the action is Mr. Deck Larkin. Let's get down to business.
Tail of the tape, the biggest discrepancy there is in the age. Interesting, Dilmarod came in 1 kilo lighter than the officially agreed upon 74 kilos.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder, I mean, perhaps the weight cut just went unexpectedly well. Looks very calm, he does. And David Jacobson waiting to be imaginary audience. He is a funny guy.
You can tell that's a young man that's having fun in there even before the fists have started flying. Really hit a purple patch in his career, riding a 3-fight win streak.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had 2 fights in less than 1 month, both victories, obviously. Hard leg kick there from Mavlonov.
Very intelligent fighter for only being 24 years old. Doesn't push or rush the action. Will push the pace, but won't rush the action.
And he is a guy who just lives and breathes combat sports. He has his own, he runs his own MMA promotion as well. He teaches free grappling to kids who have problems with bullying. So he is more than just a funny guy. And whoa!
Big double underhooks established. And dare I say it, a little bit of old man strength creeping in there from Kamikaze. But nice work from Jacobson trying to frame, suppressed by Dilmarod.
And Mavlonov's corner calling for elbows from top position. Let's see if he can get some offense going from...
But look at how Jacobson's trying to move those hips, potentially trying to set up an armbar. Dilmarod wise to it, brings those elbows in a little bit closer, a little bit tighter. Needs to respect the ground game of the BJJ purple belt.
And there is more at stake than just a victory for Jacobson, because as I mentioned before, he does have a tattoo bet going with his brother and with Robert Nystrom. The deal is that the one with most strikes landed, that he wins, and the losers will have to choose a tattoo on either the bicep, the lower back, or the buttocks. So definitely a bit at stake here.
It's got to be the bicep, right?
That's what I would choose.
Keep busy. Keep busy.
You see Jacobson trying to establish a butterfly hook, perhaps thinking about the sweep, but again shut down by Dilmarod, a BJJ blue belt in his own right.
That just speaks to the grappling experience of Mavlonov.
And whilst on paper he may be a BJJ blue belt, his grappling experience and knowledge by far outweighs that.
Top notch, absolutely.
Trying to get in on the guillotine momentarily. But right now he's like a fire blanket shutting down the spark of David Fatboy Slim Jacobson. And as a wise man once said, you can't start a fire without a spark, Seb.
Absolutely. And Jacobson, he's not one to just take easy fights. I mean, he has been known to play spoiler, to score upsets in his opponent's home cities. He defeated Danish prospect Thomas Jessing, who had more than 3 times the experience.
Oh, may try to get in on the ankle here. That's crafty jiu-jitsu. Parlays that into an advantageous position of his own. Needs to be wary of the up kicks in this position. Dilmarod needed to be careful in a situation like that. Digging in for the underhook could have potentially set himself up in a crucifix position. Potential work for a head-on triangle here if Jacobson can get free. This is what he looks to be setting up, Seb.
Yeah, I think so.
Deep thud on those shots to the body.
Less than 2 minutes left to work here.
And it must be said, Jacobson does have a win via TKO due to breaking a rib of his opponent.
Yes, I remember that fight.
So he does have form for this kind of punishment.
Oh, hard elbows to the midsection there. And, I talked to Jacobson about it, and he said, people are sleeping on my strikes.
Oh, he's punishing the body. Oh, he's hitting Dilmarod like he owes him money. Has to be aware of taking the back. Could be setting up a triangle. Good work from Dilmarod to get himself back on top.
Really showing that veteran experience, but nicely done from Jacobson, who takes his time. I'm not sure what's going on here. It seemed like he had the opportunity to stand up, but chose not to.
I think he's happy to play, and when I say play, I mean play, because he genuinely enjoys this type of a fight, this sort of positioning of a fight.
Yeah, and it seems like it's just as much of a mental battle as it is a physical one, because it's like he wanted to test Dilmurad's grappling there.
Jacobson in on that single, but Dilmurad bounces right back up. Almost an element of pulling guard there from Jacobson. Dilmurad inside the closed guard of Jacobson, but every time you see him open the guard, he's trying to shift the hips, he's trying to create angles for himself.
And Jacobson is one who enjoys a challenge. I mentioned his victory over Dane Thomas Jessing. That was obviously in Denmark. And then he also fought Ian Feenan, who had a 6-1 record when Jacobson was very young in his career. He was served as basically a sacrificial lamb for the hometown fighter, but managed to pull off a submission victory instead.
First round comes to a close. A lot of interesting action, a lot of interesting little mini battles within the fight to be won and lost there, Seb.
And Jacobson is one who does enjoy that mental aspect. I mean, he both enjoys fighting and just every aspect of that, but also he does like that little mental part as well. That's why he takes those verbal jabs at his opponent as well.
And I'm wondering just how much of a toll those pot shots and those snap down elbows into the solar plexus, the rib area of Dilmurad. I'm interested to know if that's going to have an effect moving forward.
Yeah, because those are strikes that, you know, they won't necessarily wear visibly on the fighter, but you can feel them so hard. And we've seen obviously evidence of that before, with Jacobson breaking the ribs of one of his opponents.
Both men getting final instruction from the corner. Referee Dickie Larkin clearing the cage with the authority that he possesses.
Look at, and we have some back and forth between the corners here, with Jacobson's corner saying, look how tired he is, he's so tired, and Mavlonov's corner saying, no, he's not.
Finally balanced, finally poised going into the second round here.
And let's see if we get more of a striking battle in the second round here. First round largely contested on the ground. Not sure really what Jacobson signaled there. He signaled something to the referee.
Was it to the referee or was it to the corner of Dilmurad?
Maybe.
I think there might be a little bit of, as you say, a little bit of gamesmanship creeping into this fight.
Well, I can tell you that there have been some words between Jacobson and Arman Pupal, who we have in the corner of Mavlonov. They're not the best of friends, to put it lightly.
A little bit of needle going into this fight.
Yeah, I'd say so. Nice kick there from Jacobson.
Jacobson seems to be finding his range with that jab. He's popped it off a few times with... That's got to give you confidence if you're landing those strikes and your corner is losing the plot every time.
I was thinking that exactly.
Nice takedown scored there by Kamikaze. Again, using a little bit of veteran savvy to try and establish the position.
But nice work from Jacobson, getting back onto his feet. Throws a knee in the clinch as well. Let's see if he disengages or tries to once again get his opponent to the mat.
May change his level slightly to establish that double underhook position right in front of us here in our broadcast position. Potential trip here for Jacobson.
Oh, another hard knee there from David Jacobson, and again.
Right into the midsection. Much to the agreement of his corner.
Yeah, I wish his corner would hear me on that way. I feel like I could get anything done.
A little bit of a cage grab there by Dilmurad. A little bit of veteran savvy creeping in again. Needs to be aware of getting his back taken here, but does well to turn into the young fighter.
Once again, we've got Mavlonov on top, but so far he hasn't been able to mount a whole lot of offense from top position. It is also obviously because Jacobson is keeping him busy. I mean,
as I say, every time you see David Jacobson open up that guard, he's trying to create angles for himself. He's trying to create something progressive for himself.
He's a very creative fighter in there. I mean, again, he just truly loves mixed martial arts, and you can see that.
Trying to clamp down. May use this here to set up a sweep if he's immobilized one of the base arms of Mavlonov.
And so far, Mavlonov, as I mentioned, you know, he hasn't really been able to score a lot of ground and pound. And we see once, like...
Oh, he fell right into potential triangle set up here. Jacobson first trying. Oh, lets it go. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's the second time where I feel like Jacobson has sort of given up an edge on the ground. Maybe it is with tattoo bet that he's trying to make sure that he wins.
But from our position, it looked like he was in a prime setup for the triangle to work for it.
Yeah, it looked like that's a perfect position.
Does well to get back up to his feet. Has hold of a neck. Trying to split the base, may call for a little bit of separation if he can establish double underhooks. Just needs to bring that level of Mavlonov up.
And we heard before Jacobson's corner screaming, he's tired, and I wonder if there is some truth to that, because Mavlonov pretty content in this position so far, working a little bit here, but...
It's also an opportunity for both fighters to maybe get a little bit of a breather if they're stalling against one another, not really giving it as much of a back and forth element to it as we've seen previously.
Yeah.
Could be trying to creep in on that figure four grip.
What's the back of the head?
Right in front of Mavlonov's corner here.
I wonder if that could be misconstrued as perhaps a little bit of a headbutt, because there was a little bit of separation there when he swept the head over. Again, I could just be a little bit pedantic.
Oh, nicely done. Spinning out of it there does David Jacobson.
Oh, beautiful. Straight leaping in. But could he potentially get caught? Potentially set up for a necktie here, should he choose, but no.
Oh,
finishes him mount.
Nice scramble.
This is beautiful jiu-jitsu, beautiful grappling. I thought momentarily we might have seen a reverse triangle set up there by Jacobson. Did win his last fight via reverse triangle. Now setting up the back control.
Nicely done.
And whilst he may not get the finish here, he may just try and land as much damage as possible. Oh, that was a beautiful shot. Right up the middle twice. A little rub of the head. One of the most condescending
I mean,
motions.
That's the thing. He's a cocky guy. He reminds me a bit of Anton Turkali, who we saw last week.
Yeah. He may as well have said good job, sport, as he got up there. But here we see some of that action. Just beautiful takedown work from Dilmurad. It really has been back and forth in these clinch positions, hasn't it, Seb?
It's been a very exciting fight. I mean, both guys switching positions around. But I do feel like Jacobson he seems just a little bit fresher. He seems like he's kind of, playing, having a good time in there. I gotta ask, Phil, what do you think about the scoring so far? How would you score the first two rounds?
It's the first round, perhaps you may give a slight edge to Dilmurad. The second round, with the way it finished, there's potentially scope to give it to David Jacobson. But as I say, we're not sitting and we're not judging the fights as a professional judge would do. So I wouldn't put a lot of credence into what we're saying.
Yeah.
But potentially it could be all to play for going into the third.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of legitimacy to that. Much. Towel, okay. Deck for Bennett Larkin. Drawing both fighters off.
Ready? Let's do this.
Third and final round. Let's see who puts a stamp on this fight.
Potential there. You can hear the corner asking for that low kick just as distance is slowly being closed by Jacobson.
Jacobson stalking his opponent here.
I was just about to say, he's doing well to cut off the angle, try and create the angles for himself, cut off the cage.
He's been doing a good job at going to the body as well. I mean, we saw those elbows before and lots of knees as well, kicks. And there we have, I mean, it has got to be fantastic to have that kind of support that Jacobson has in his corner.
Who needs a crowd when you have a corner like that?
Right.
That's all the encouragement and motivation you need right there. It's like watching an old school Muay Thai fight. Any strike that lands, hey, hey!
And here they are up against the cage. Mavlonov working for a takedown. But it is, I mean, credit to David Jacobson, who hasn't really been in the game so long. Started out with just MMA. really holding his own against a super experienced grappler like Dilmurad Mavlonov, turning things around now.
As you say, only turned pro in October of 2016. As a fresh-faced 20-year-old.
And this is actually just his second fight in Sweden. He has, as I mentioned before, traditionally been the away fighter, traditionally played spoiler, and scored upsets on his opponent's home field. So it's nice for him to finally be back in Sweden to compete here again.
Does have 4 finishes on his record, so does have that capacity in an instant to finish the fight. 3 wins by way of submission, a triangle and 2 guillotines. So we know he's very dangerous off his back. Again, both fighters engaging in this taxing position where they're trying to wear on each other.
And Mavlonov really trying his hardest to get the takedown here, but I mean, credit to Jacobson's defense here. He's really making Mavlonov pay, throwing knees whenever he gets the chance, staying busy.
Let's go, keep working, guys. Don't grab the fence.
I want Jacobson's corner at my birthday.
Don't put your fingers in.
At the birthday, I'd just be happy if they followed me around the house and had that kind of enthusiasm when I'm doing
While
the
you're
dishes
cleaning.
or something. Yeah.
I would certainly be motivated to do some dishes and vacuuming.
Stop, stop, stop.
Referee Dick Larkin calls for a little bit of separation. And who does this really benefit, Sebastian?
You know what? I think it benefits Mavlonov because I think he is a little bit more tired. He throws some shots.
Oh,
there.
he maybe momentarily a little bit of wobbliness in the legs of David Jacobson.
Yeah, I wonder if he is hurt. It's hard to tell because he does, you know, act kind of nonchalant at times.
I do think there was a little bit of give in the legs there when a big shot landed, Seb. So right now it may be within the best interest of Kamikaze to separate and land those strikes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Then, as you say, you just don't know with the enigma that is David Jacobson. He may be playing possum a little bit to try and set something up.
I mean, he's a crafty guy. I would not put it past him to play possum. And Arman Popal in the corner of Mavlonov saying, we're not here to score points, we're here to hurt him.
90 seconds left in the third and final round. And again, this fight very much for me is on a knife edge. It's going to come down to who wants it more, who's willing to take that risk, who's willing to
who can make a statement here in the third round and really to kind of steal the fight.
Definitely,
it's been close enough so far. Just a little bit over 1 minute left here in the final round.
Level change there from Dilmurad. Perhaps trying to get in on a single here or a high crotch. Nice takedown defense from Jacobson.
Yeah, very nicely done.
And again, they're landing right back in that position. But now Jacobson in the ascendancy, gets the takedown, could slide right through into mount should he choose to. He did finish strong in the second with heavy ground and pound. And he has the arm isolated here. He has that Dagestani handcuff.
He does, yeah, and this might be enough to steal the round if he doesn't get a finish.
He's just isolating that beautifully, preventing Dilmurad from defending himself. He's working the body again. I'd like to see him bring it up a little bit, start smashing the head.
I mean, he's already invested in those body strikes, so yeah, I totally agree. Time to go up high, and it's, yeah, he probably hearing us because he is right in front of our broadcast position. And
free him off elbow.
Thunderous elbow.
May look for a couple more of those. May free him off and just cut through the guard.
And I have not been counting, but I think David Jacobson just won the tattoo bet.
Again, very, very strong finish for David Jacobson.
Absolutely.
And again, a very difficult fight to judge.
Yeah, it was close in many situations. It's hard really to gauge even who did the most damage.
And there's where you see the slight wobble, the slight lack of composure. I think another shot comes in here. That, I think it was the straight, created a little bit of wobble in the leg. So, again, I'm sure the judges saw that as much as we did. Jacobson just chilling like a villain in his corner. Cheers to the crowd.
It is hard not to be entertained by David Jacobson, both inside and outside of a fight.
Genuinely entertaining, back and forth. And that was a real war of attrition, Sebastian.
Definitely. They both really pushed each other to the brink. Both guys had their moments. Both guys landed good strikes. Both guys had good grappling positions as well.
And it's taken a little bit of time to get the scorecards, which to me says it was a very close fight.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm certainly on pins and needles here right now.
Lance Murdoch making his way into the cage, which means we have a decision. So let's fire it up to him to make everything official.
Blood, sweat, and tears, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we consult the judges' scorecards. Judge A scored it 29-28. Judge B scored it 30-27. Judge C also scored it 30-27. It is a unanimous decision. To the blue corner, David Jacobson!
There we have it. Fat Boy Slim lining up another victory after edging out Dilmurod Mavlonov.
And that was perhaps the hardest earned victory of his mixed martial arts career, taking on a martial arts veteran like Dilmurod Mavlonov, and he passed that test with flying colors.
Absolutely. I mean, he's proved that he is a force to be reckoned with.
Okay, Brave Nation, our next two fighters are ready to roll. It's more action in the catchweight division. Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of professional mixed martial arts in this catchweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Stockholm, Sweden. She stands at 163 centimeters tall, weighing in at 55.8 kilograms with a pro record of 2 wins and 1 loss. Aileen, the Amazon, Oberg! Across the cage, her opponent stands in the red corner. Fighting out of Örebro, Sweden. She stands at 165 centimeters, weighing in at 55.8 kilograms with a professional record of 5 wins and 1 loss. Malin, the Herminator, Hermanson! Our referee in charge of the action is Anders Olsen. Let's get down to business.
There you see the tail of the tape. 7 years the elder as Malin Hermanson. Everything else is not dissimilar.
Anders Taxi Olsen in charge of the action here, and there's been some heat between these two. We saw that at the Staradons yesterday. Hermanson really getting into the face of Eleonora, who took it all with a smile and no touch of gloves either. I know that Hermanson has been calling out Eleonora for a while as well.
And it's a very different sort of composure we've seen from Malin in the lead up to this fight. She's almost been stoic, as opposed to being playful and having fun. There's a little bit of aggression, a little bit of needle between these two, and there's that kicking game we've been talking about of Ellen Oberg.
Yeah. Again, there a hard kick from, I mean, both of these ladies are just so fast.
But it's a smart technique to try and take out the lead leg of the boxer so that they can't really pop off that, but charging forward as Malin.
That was a nice straight right from the Herminator. And yeah,
kick to the body.
Caught by Malin Hermanson. Let's see what she does here in top position.
Hermanson now inside the open guard of Oberg. As you say, it'll be interesting to see what the jiu-jitsu's like of Oberg, because it's something that we haven't really seen a lot of in her fights.
Yeah, I mean, obviously her debut did not leave any room for speculation regarding her ground game. We did see her mostly on her back in her previous bout. It was the first loss of her professional career against Elizabeth Rodriguez, where, I mean, she just faced a strong grappler, Didalen Bay, who just constantly put her down on her back. She had problems getting up, and, you know, I know that that was a defeat, but definitely took a toll on her, but she's bouncing back. I mean, so far she's looked good on her feet, and if she can get up from this position, I think she'll continue looking good.
But when you look at where she's been training, obviously she trains at SPR Athlete Factory, but she's also spent time training at AK Thailand. She's also spent time training at Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas. So you know that she's going to be working on elements of her ground there. Has to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if you are transitioning to MMA, you've got to do that. You've got to work on your weaknesses. You can't just rely on strengths that you have in other martial arts.
And does well to get up.
Done.
Eats a few shots for her trouble, but does very well to get back to her feet and see if she continues to punish that lead leg.
Shakes her head, does Malin Hermanson at that. Who, when she's not fighting, enjoys gardening and planting tomatoes.
Well, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, Seb.
Absolutely.
You can already see the marking up of that lead leg of Hermanson. Again, every time she's not just slapping with the foot, she's chopping right into it with the shin. Hermanson establishes the double underhooks.
And I wonder if it's perhaps some of those kicks that are inspiring these clinch positions from Hermanson.
Hermanson with the takedown, but again, Oberg gets up. She needs to be wary of giving up the back in this position. Be interesting to see what kind of offense we see Malin implementing from here.
Let's see if she gets... No, does not get hooks, does Malin Hermanson. And I gotta say, Elin Oberg is looking good because, as you mentioned before, I feel like some people might have been writing her off, but she's had a very strong start here so far.
She's more than holding her own in this competition. Little calf kicks being landed there by Malin Hermanson.
Calf kicks from a standing grappling position even. And she's doing a good job as Elin Oberg at staying on her feet. And just as I say that, commentators curse. And wow, Hermanson jumps up, takes it back.
Does have the confidence in her submission game, coming off that second round rear naked choke victory, has both hooks in.
And right now Elin Oberg is doing a good job leaning up against the cage, so she doesn't have to carry too much of her opponent's weight, but you still are tiring out your opponent a little bit.
And she's remaining calm in this position. But you also have to factor in what this takes out of the legs of Hermanson.
True.
Having to stay in this position with the legs tense, with them engaged for that length of time. She's trying to switch to that reverse half guard body triangle.
She's slowly working her way in there, not really getting under the chin. And yeah, nicely defended by Elin Oberg.
That's textbook defense, but then lets it go. And adjustments there from Hermanson. Could she be thinking about the second finish via submission in her career?
Looks a little
she's
bit
putting a serious squeeze into it. Is she perhaps putting a little bit too much into it at this stage?
It looks like it might be a bit high though, like it's around the chin.
More of a face bar than it is an RNC.
Yeah.
But then it looks like she may just be slowly creeping that. And that puts you could break a jaw with this kind of pressure.
Absolutely.
So don't get it twisted and think that this is not a difficult position, but well read out by Elin Oberg.
Absolutely, Phil. That's a good point. We have seen fighters tap just to the pain before.
But again, nice defensive work from Oberg, and you've got to wonder what potentially that may have taken out of the arms of Malin Hermanson, because she did really go for the squeeze. Fighters go back to their corners. Seb, I've got to ask you, who do you think is going to be the happier going into the second round there?
I was just thinking that, because on the one hand, Hermanson was the one that successfully mounted the most, that came the closest to finishing the bout there, but it was to no avail, and that's got to be a big boost for Elin Oberg to be able to show that, hold her on the feet with such an experienced striker, such an experienced boxer, and then also defend the grappling. That's a feather in her cap as well. And she looks happy now, she looks relaxed.
And also landing those big leg kicks.
Yeah.
Whilst Malin may not have felt them as intensely in the moment, now that she has a minute to sit down, the blood has a moment to collect in those areas, she perhaps could be a little bit leggy coming into the second round.
Yeah, because those have been some pretty thunderous kicks from Elin Oberg.
Both ladies light on their feet, ready to go in the second round.
And we saw in the pre-fight build-up that Hermanson is shooting for a first or second round finish.
Ready? Round two. Fight!
There we go. This time we get to touch the gloves.
I think that they may have earned one another's respect a little bit in that back and forth first round. Straight back to the well with those leg kicks, is Ellen.
And once again, we have Hermanson pressing the action. Yeah, she has this way, constantly looking down, just looking so relaxed.
Those leg kicks are huge.
Yeah, you can hear them.
On a stiff jab from Ellen, showing that she also has boxing.
Yeah. Gotta say, Elin Oberg is doing very well so far. And as Hermansson's left leg looking even more red than it did before.
Be interesting to see if after a few more of those types of leg kicks, will she choose to switch stance. But dare I say it, Elin Oberg looking almost Hermanson-like with her stance there, keeping the hand low. Seatbelt grip being implemented here by Malin Hermanson.
And I heard Hermanson's corner calling for Sundays, which I'm assuming is some kind of code. I mean, now that there is no audience, we have seen it affect the way the corners coach for fighters. You know,
there's a lot of blood coming out of the nose of Ellen Oberg, I think, here. Again, the rear naked choke with no hooks in. This is becoming a little bit of a trademark of hers. She couldn't possibly get a second tap from this kind of position, could she?
That certainly would be something, but again, we've seen crazier feet. Is it coming from? I think it's coming from Hermanson.
Yeah, it's coming from the nose of Hermanson. Yeah. I think it was that stiff jab popped off.
That was probably it. That's a lot of blood.
That amount of blood's indicative of a broken nose, Seb.
Yeah, and that is not. I mean, now she's on top, but it totally disrupts your breathing, your movement.
And again, Ellen does well to reclaim a little bit of composure off her back, sitting now in the half guard.
Not seeing a huge amount of offense from Malin Hermansson, who might want just a little opportunity to collect herself here.
She's trying to work body, head. Not so much to finish the fight, but the working of the body, working of the head, it opens up the possibility to other things. It creates those little gaps that you can then work from.
And also, you know, you're staying busy, so there's no risk of being stood up. And you're also just, you know, giving your opponent another aspect to think about.
Posture from Malin Hermansson. But again, good post there. And back to your feet. This is a very, very well-rounded mixed martial artist in Ellen Oberg.
Absolutely. Great matchmaking here. Both fighters really... Oh, look at this. Ellen Oberg turns it around, ends up on top. This is not good for Malin Hermansson.
And especially if her breathing has potentially been impeded by that broken nose.
And you got that blood running backwards down.
So even the slightest of pop shots from this position is going to cause one, immense pain and further impede the breathing of the person with potentially a broken nose.
And in general, you want to breathe out of your mouth as little as possible because you want to keep the chin, you know, tucked as much as you can. But I can speak from experience, it is damn near impossible to do when you have a broken nose.
She has the foot on the hip. She may be looking to try and transition into something, perhaps playing around with a little bit of rubber guard if she gets the chance.
Yeah.
But that foot on the hip is the real danger marker that Ellen needs to be aware of.
Oh, and she lets her up. I feel like that's a bit of a moral victory as well for Ellen Oberg.
Again, those leg kicks are absolute money.
Vicious leg kicks.
Lands a huge straight of her own.
And another hard leg kick. That was more of a foot, that one in particular, but
I like the way she's attacking it. She's going inside, outside, keeping Malin guessing.
Yeah, she's really keeping her at a range.
Malin really needs to start checking some of these leg kicks.
Yeah, she can't eat a whole lot of those because, I mean, it's gonna completely disrupt her striking. She's not gonna be able to have any pop in her shots, and it's gonna make it a lot harder to just basically mount any sort of offense.
Ellen Oberg looks nice and loose there, and she's popping off her jab very, very nicely.
Goes to the body then. I like the way that Ellen Oberg is mixing things up.
Did get caught with a short little hook there from Hermanson when she was landing that leg kick. Needs to be wary of dropping her hands while she's kicking in that sort of traditional Thai style. Crimson mask being worn now by Malin Hermansson.
And Ellen Oberg's golden blonde hair turning a little red as well.
Needs to get that rear hand up a little bit when she's kicking so she doesn't get caught with that counter hook from Malin Hermansson.
And I like that Oberg went high there with that kick. Nice little combination there from Hermansson, but nothing with a whole lot of power behind him. That could be because of those leg kicks. Great round, and if she didn't have it before, Malin Hermansson definitely has respect for Ellen Oberg striking now.
And to the casual observer, I don't think this fight is unfolding as many would have expected, Seb.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you look at it on paper, I mean, you would think that Malin Hermansson would be a little bit stronger on the ground and perhaps have a little bit more, you know, just general grappling experience when it comes to MMA, but Ellen Oberg is truly holding her own. I mean, I'd say that she's been leading the striking right now, and she's doing a fantastic job defensively on the ground.
And this is where there was a massive swing in momentum. The attempted takedown by Malin. As she does that, Ellen's wise to it, turns in beautifully, lands a couple of strikes of her own, realizes that she's enjoying the striking aspect of this, stands up out of the guard, and thinks, yeah, I'm happy to stand and trade for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Ellen Oberg, she looks fresh, she looks happy to be there, she's smiling, she's just generally seems to be having a great time, whereas there's much more urgency in the corner of Malin Hermansson. Hermanson's corner saying to go all in, and I've got to agree. Sure, she's pressuring, but she's not really mounting a whole lot of successful offense.
Yeah, and you have to look at, damage is a huge criteria in mixed martial arts. You have to look at the fact she bloodied her up, the fact that she's causing a lot of damage to that lead leg.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in the corner of Hermanson, you'd have to tell her to start checking some of those kicks too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are taking their toll. I do feel like Hermansson's movement isn't quite as fluid as it was before.
Perhaps impeded by the frequency of those leg kicks.
That was a nice hook there from Elin Oberg. In the corner of Malin Hermansson. Oh,
huge head kick!
And there we have it.
I did say that Malin was susceptible to that head kick.
And Patrik Gyllström in the corner, Malin Hermansson screaming, swearing, imploring Malin Hermansson to go forward and get something going.
Elin Oberg is feeling herself in there. She's getting loose and she's enjoying it.
Oh, and look, the side of Malin's face is bleeding now as well, so she's bleeding both from the nose and under the eye.
Oh, she is starting to leak, and I think that was that head kick.
Yeah, it must have been.
This is a huge fight, a huge round so far for Elin Oberg. May look to land a couple of knees inside the clinch here.
And it looks like Malin is having trouble with her right eye. It looks like it's closing up a little bit. I mean, that is just the last thing she needs on the list of negatives here, in addition to the cuts and the effect of those leg kicks.
And if you were Elin Oberg in a situation like that, you'd be wanting to disengage and start to target that with hooks, potentially another head kick.
Nice knee there in the clinch from Elin Oberg.
Again, we could see.
Oh, nicely done from Malin Hermansson there, though.
And that's exactly what she needed to do in a situation like that. Take it down to somewhere where she can enforce the dominant position.
Yeah, she was in a tough spot. She just was not really finding her flow in the striking. So she did exactly what was necessary. Smart move.
Sounds like there's a little bit of frustration on the part of the corner of Malin Hermansson.
Yeah, he's screaming, come on now, we got to get going, get some shots fired off.
And if you're Elin in a position like this, you may just hold on and wait for the stoppage.
Yeah, because, I mean, you got to think that she's leading so far in terms of points.
It's definitely leading in terms of damage accrued.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't feel like she's been struck with any really significant strikes. Nothing that comes to mind anyway. I think there was a hook here and there, but I mean, Malin Hermansson is just wearing the story of his fight on her face, and it is also sprinkled on the canvas on the cage.
Momentarily looked like she was going to transition into side control, but good work from Oberg to get that guard position back.
I gotta agree with Malin Hermansson's corner, who's calling for activity. I feel like she's a bit too complacent right now with the top position. She's not gonna win the round here. She's gotta mount some offense. She's gotta posture up, get some hard ground and pound, or even go for a submission, because this is not gonna do it.
As we say, Elin happy to hold on in this position. It's not absorbing any damage. But you've got to think she's going to want to get back to the feet so she can unload a little bit more of her striking arsenal.
I mean, this has been a great performance from her so far. And if she wants to put an exclamation point on that, I say get up and get some, fire off some shots.
And just as you say that, she's trying to work the hips. She was trying to get that knee shield in and stand up from there.
Corner of Hermansson calling for elbows, and yeah, again I agree. I think she's got to show more activity. She's got to really just go for broke right now. She's got to leave it all in there.
Just coming up to the final minute mark of this third round. It really is up to Hermansson now to kind of go for broken.
Ball's in her court. I mean, she's in top position and she is down on the judges' scorecard. Or, we've got to believe that she is. She's really got to. I mean, it's now or never. A nice.
Lands a nice straight of her own on the break, but it really is do or die right now for Malin Hermansson. Trying to score the takedown. Right in front of us here in broadcast position, reversed.
Oh, nice
knees in the clinch.
Well. And look at the right eye of Malin Hermansson.
Oh, that's nearly completely swollen shot. Lands a nice...
Yeah, nice uppercut there, though.
But she really needs to go full Max Holloway, meet in the middle, bite down on her gum shield and throw hands.
Nice job of Hermanson scoring a takedown, but it is not going to be enough to win the fight.
And there it is, Sebastian. 3 rounds of action. A fight I think a lot of people will be surprised by, and we may just have a new breakout star.
I think so too.
Here we see some of the action, and there's that beautiful head kick that instantly opened up a cut. You can see Malin immediately gets her hands to it to touch it. That tells you that it caused some sort of damage.
Yeah, just the body language speaking to the effectiveness of that strike. It's more of a top position from Hermanson. But yeah, again, she just did not really mount a whole lot of successful offense from top position. She really just held position.
You've got to think that she's very, very happy with that performance. That was definitely the definition of an eye-catching performance, Seb.
Definitely. And there we have MMA fighter and celebrity Simon Sköld in the corner of Elin Oberg. They've got to be happy with her performance here today.
It's nice to see that perhaps a little bit of that tension that we saw yesterday at the weigh-ins has dissipated. Both fighters embracing, having shared something very special with a potential fight of the night performance here.
And I mean, it's nothing to do with bad blood. It's really just, I mean, it's athletic rivalry. It's 2 fighters reaching their peak, culminating in what we just saw here, 15 minutes of action.
Lance Murdoch, the official decision, please.
In our closest contest of the evening so far, we consult the judges' scorecards. Judge A scored it 29-28. Judge B scored it 27-30. And Judge C scored it 29-28. It is a split decision. To the blue corner, Elin Oberg!
And there we have it. Some disappointment from Elin Hermanson, but I think, yeah, that was definitely the correct decision there. Elin Oberg, really breakout performance there against a veteran and respected fighter as Elin Hermanson.
Yeah, absolutely huge win. And for my money, very much deserved.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was a close fight, but if you look at the volume of shots, the tearing up the front leg, the break or the opening up of the nose again, because we don't know for sure if it was a nose break, and then that beautiful head kick. It was something very special. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Elin Oberg just put it on Elin Hermanson in every way that she could. I mean, on the feet, she was looking fantastic, and even when she did end up on the ground, she really held her own, and she managed to turn a lot of those positions around. I mean, I truly think that a star was born here tonight. So young as well, a very bright future ahead of her. There was that high kick again. Devastating high kick. I think a lesser opponent, a less seasoned opponent would have been felled by that strike. And Hermanson, you know, she did her best. She did her best to try and get Oberg out of her comfort zone, putting her on her back, but she just could not really get a whole lot of offense going once she was in top position.
Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we move on swiftly to our super lightweight division. Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of professional mixed martial arts in this super lightweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Rotterdam, Netherlands, standing at 188 centimeters tall, weighing in at 74.8 kilograms, with a pro record of 15 wins and 7 losses, Jamil Dynamite Chan! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner. Fighting out of Belgium by way of Luxembourg, he stands at 175 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 75.1 kilograms with a pro record of 7 wins and 2 losses, Isa the Terminator Isakov! Our referee in charge of the action is Deck Larkin. Let's get down to business.
Tail of the tape, both men 30 years old. Height advantage goes to Jamil Chan. The man in the middle is the one and only Decky, the Bandit Larkin.
This should be an explosive fight. Both guys known for finishes. Jamil Chan actually, might not believe it, but his first athletic endeavor was actually into baseball of all sports. Gave it up because he felt it was too boring.
No, he swings his legs like he's swinging a baseball bat.
Absolutely. It can still be 3 strikes and you're out.
Very good, Seb. I enjoyed that. As we alluded to earlier, when Jamil Chan is turned on, when he's switched on and ready to go, he is one of the best, one of the most dangerous strikers. A lovely sprawl there.
Absolutely.
I think we may have just got a little bit of an insight into the game plan of Isakov there.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. When you are facing someone with such dynamite in their hands like Jamil Chan, it would be smart to put them on their backs a little bit, at least tire them out.
Both these men have absolute tree trunk legs.
Yeah. Chan in particular.
Isakov happy to skip inside the pocket momentarily, try and land his pot shots and get out, but a little bit of a smile on the face of Jamil Chan there.
Yeah.
Nice heavy wrestling.
He's been a bit, I don't want to say dismissive, but he kind of feels like Isakov, you know, that he might be a little bit overhyped. He says, you know, a lot of people are talking about him, but he says that he's seen everything before.
Again, at 30 years old, with over 19 professional bouts and a multitude of K1 kickboxing and Muay Thai bouts, there's very, very few looks that Jamil Chan hasn't seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he said, obviously, Isakov, he says, I know his patterns. I don't underestimate him, but I have seen it before. And nice job getting out there.
Looked like he may have been trying to set up the mounted triangle, was Isakov, showing just how dangerous his submission game is. Of course, 3 wins by way of submission in his career.
And Chan says that his favorite kickboxer is legend Gurkhan Saki, whereas his favorite MMA fighter is actually Robert Whittaker, former middleweight champion.
Needs to be careful coming in, sort of needs to come in smart, needs to come in intelligent so he doesn't get caught by Isakov.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be dismissive of your opponent's strikes, because simply because your opponent has strength in grappling and submissions, that doesn't mean that they're not packing a punch either.
And especially with these small 4-ounce gloves,
yeah,
if somebody lands right, regardless of how powerful, if it's technical enough, it could put you out.
I like the way that Chan has been going to the body. You're already seeing redness on the side of Isakov, and he did drop his guard just a little bit.
Again, nice sprawl from Chan, but great follow through from Isakov. Didn't give up on it the first attempt, but needs to be wary of a potential guillotine. Guillotine negated there by the side control. Chan needs to let go of that neck.
Yeah.
Reclaims half guard, very smartly done. Must also be said that Chan is not just a striker, but is also a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so does have that diversity in his game, and that's nice wrestling right there. Isakov transitions into the parterre position, a great position to land some pot shots.
But Chan, you know, keeping his cool. I mean, he has been doing a very good job defensively at getting out of these positions. And in the stand-up, I do definitely feel like he has been landing the harder shots. This is not a position he wants to be in, though.
You can see Isakov now just wearing on Chan, trying to flatten him out, trying to force him to carry a little bit of weight. People don't realize that Isakov's first martial art was wrestling, originally born in the Republic of Dagestan. His father was his head wrestling coach, so he does have that extensive background to call upon.
Wrestling in Dagestan? Never heard of it.
Takes the almost momentary look like he was going to take the back, lands in that full mount position. Be interesting to see what he chooses to do from here. Or should I say 3/4 mount, as Chan is just holding on to below the calf there.
Less than a minute to work, though, but this is definitely a very advantageous position for Isakov. He does some of his best work from here. But again, slipping out the back door, only momentarily, though, but...
Jamil Chan closes the half guard, may look to try and reclaim guard, but so far it's been all about the smothering work of Isakov, which is a great way of nullifying the most dangerous tools of Jamil Chan, that being his striking.
Yeah, because he has been put on the defensive throughout the entire first round. He hasn't. I mean, while they have been separated in the stand-up, he has scored some good shots to the body. But I mean, this is just mostly been the story of the fight so far. It has been Isakov on top, and with Chan forced to defend grappling positions.
Nah, he has been doing enough to keep himself active. That knee on belly, crushing position. lets it go and lands some heavy shots.
That was a good elbow there to punctuate the round from Isakov.
Jamil Chan got up to his feet there, a little bit more labored than I would like to see of a fighter at the end of the first round.
And as we saw in the pre-fight package there, Isakov saying that he would tire Chan out in the first 2 or 3 minutes. There might be some credence to that.
And if that is the game plan, he's been implementing it very intelligently with heavy takedowns, heavy top game, heavy top pressure. He's essentially in these positions forcing Chan to do most of the work.
But Chan is a crafty guy. I mean, he's been in there with some of the best fighters out there, and he holds finishes via knockout or TKO over the likes of Mohamed Grabinski, Richard Patishnuk, David Zavada. Truly top-notch fighters. So he knows how to get it done. But that being said, he is on a 3-fight skid here, so he definitely has to turn things around.
Deggy Larkin just calling for the tile to dry up a little bit of water there. Trying to keep the fighter safe, making sure they don't slip.
Okay, second round. You ready? You ready?
And there we go, second round started, touch of the gloves. And yeah, there's a lot of pop in the step of Isakov. Definitely seems like a fresher fighter.
But then if you've ever watched Jamil Chan, he's the kind of fighter that's like happy to plant his feet and land big strikes.
Oh, yeah.
Again, it leaves him a little bit. Oh, huge shot from Jamil Chan. He's unloading.
And now Isakov truly has felt the power of Jamil Dynamite Chan.
I think that may just force the shot from Isakov. I don't think he wants to stand in the pocket and have too many more of those exchanges.
Definitely not.
Nice.
And I like that Chan is throwing those kicks to the body when Isakov tries moving out of range.
And you can see that it's already reddening up the torso. Chan's decided he's going to attack the body a little bit.
Oh, nicely
head kick.
done.
Head kick to an overhand, and Jamil Chan is winging punches.
There was just, you know, it was a game of centimeters there where he, unfortunately, was just a little bit off with a lot of those hooks.
Isakov reverts to type, scores that big takedown, and he's exactly where he wants to be right now, in the mounted position that he can work in. As I said, Chan has a tendency to plant the feet and swing big, but in a situation like that, you leave yourself susceptible to somebody ducking underneath and scoring the takedown.
Yeah, he might have gotten a bit too carried away there, because now he is once again on the ground with Isakov in full mount, throwing shots, punches, elbows, and it is going to take a lot of work to get out of here. I mean, Chan is going for it. He's definitely trying to, and yet again he gets up. Very nicely done.
Again, showing that he's not just that one-dimensional striker. He has good jiu-jitsu, good defensive wrestling, has stuffed a number of takedowns, and for the most part has gotten up from the takedowns.
Yeah.
Big leg kick from Chan.
I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more leg kicks from Chan, to be honest. Oh, and another punishing kick to the body there.
The fact you didn't hear a snap off that shows you just how well it landed, Seb.
Those usually are the ones that are the absolute worst, because they just dig right in through muscle and organs.
Again, Chan trying to defend that takedown, but Isakov, like a dog with a bone, his corner calling him to bring him over to the cage and do his work from there. He's again trying to get that head underneath the chin.
Methodical work here from Isakov. Really keeping his cool, slowly working his way over to a position he wants. But and he goes for an armbar.
Again, trying to get that armbar. That seems to be a go-to submission of his lately.
Finishes off a position with some strikes. But again, well defended from Jamil Chan.
Nice stiff jab from Isakov and end of the takedown, but good defense thus far from Jamil Chan. May try and disengage from this position. Try to score a takedown of his own, but against someone born and bred in Dagestan with fantastic wrestling, that's a lot easier said than done, Sebastian.
Oh, absolutely. That is, that's trying to bite the tiger. It's just not going to work. But it would be okay. Yeah, that was
a little bit of a pop in the groin.
Yeah, right in front of us, so we could both see and hear it quite clearly. And I think this will benefit Chan, who looked to be the more tired of the two heading into the second bout and was struggling with his takedown.
Deggy Larkin sending Isakov to the neutral corner, and in a situation like this, Jamil Chan could employ a little bit of veteran savvy and avail of the full 5 minutes that he's entitled to in a situation like this.
And I mean, I don't really know why. I mean, maybe it's a pride thing, a toughness thing, but most fighters will not take the full 5 minutes when they do absorb a strike between the legs, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, why not take the time you need to be the best possible fighter?
And here you see just in that clinch, Jamil Chan happy to get right back at it.
We had Isakov's corner calling for him to raise the guard a little bit, which he did.
And the thing with Jamil Chan is, you know, he's only ever one shot away from ending the fight. That's the kind of power, that's the kind of danger he possesses, and he's really working on the body here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. Went body head, but it elicited the response that the corner of Isakov wanted, that being the takedown.
Both fighters just tough as nails, really, because Isakov has been taking some hard shots, but powers through them, gets top position. And on the other side of it, you got Jamil Chan, who's being thrown on his back time and time again. That is the times when he hasn't been able to sprawl and defend it. But so far, he's done a pretty good job at getting back up most of the time.
Isakov keeping the hips really low, forcing Chan to carry the weight of both of them like a centrifugal point right down the center of the body. And again, the story of the fight so far for me has been Jamil Chan trying to mount that offense, landing some great strikes, but then perhaps being guilty of overcommitting a little bit, thus setting up the takedown or inviting the takedown for Isakov.
I think a little bit more control in those striking exchanges would do Jamil Chan a lot of good. Because, like, for example, when he landed that high kick and he was just winging those hooks, I mean, just a little bit more control and composure, he might have been able to finish Isakov there.
Big strikes being landed, big points being accumulated by Isakov.
And another round finished off with Isakov on top and Jamil Chan eating ground and pound on the bottom.
Yeah, Isakov, for me, if he were a footballer, he'd be Roy Keane. Because he does the fundamentals, but he does them so well. He's not necessarily spectacular in any one facet of mixed martial arts, but he puts everything together so well and employs absolutely wonderful fundamentals.
Definitely, and without solid fundamentals, everything comes crashing down. So it is something that's, you know, perhaps discounted and overlooked a little bit. A lot of fighters can focus on too many flashy techniques and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you don't have some solid ground to stand on, it's not going to work.
You can't build a house without foundations.
There you have it.
Again, the balance of this fight finally poised. It really depends on how the judges interpret the takedowns versus the strikes landed.
Yeah. I still feel, though, that Isakov is probably ahead. Also seems to be the fresher fighter heading into the final round here, and there we go.
A little show of respect from both men, as you would expect after two hard-fought rounds. Spinning back kick from Isakov.
And I think that's definitely the right move, because we've had 2 rounds now where Isakov was really pressed for the takedown. So why not open up with a couple, you know, head kicks and hard strikes to just sort of change up the rhythm of the fight a little bit.
And it may also beat Jamil Chan into standing for a little bit, planting those feet again.
Yeah, draw him into a firefight and then take him down. Maybe it would be a very smart move.
The danger being... Oh, Jamil Chan caught him there. I'd like to see him follow up a little bit.
It was a heavy right hand from Dynamite Chan.
Nice defense again there. This fight is so finely poised.
You can truly feel the...
Just a little bit of a slip there, yeah.
But you can truly feel the tension because, I mean, Jamil Chan is always just one strike away from ending the fight. He landed a high kick there, but I think it was partially blocked and didn't necessarily come with all the conviction needed.
Isakov starting to put his hands together quite nicely here. And again, there's that Dutch-style leg kick.
And I feel like we should have seen a little more of those leg kicks early on, because that would have really benefited him this late in the fight.
Just mirrors the right eye of Jamil Chan starting to swell up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's probably some of those elbows from the top for Isakov that did that.
Again, good defense from Chan. And defending the takedown with that kind of frequency in this round, it's bound to give. Oh, that's a nice combination landed by Isakov.
But Chan just eats it like a champ.
Oh, beautiful. Nice. Look low with that, almost a quasi question mark kick.
Trying to
rip to the body. I think he may have momentarily taken a little bit of wind out of him there.
Yeah, I think he needs to go for it here.
Yeah, he's covering up a little bit on that side of the body. Again, working the body, but Isakov, the story of this fight has been the strikes landed versus the instantaneous takedown to get himself out of danger from Isakov.
Absolutely, Phil. And I think that Chan had a little moment there where he could have sort of run away with the fight, but I think he recognized the power of that strike a little bit too late, couldn't really capitalize. Isakov had enough time to sort of collect himself and recover. And
now landing right into that side control position. Might work from here to just shimmy the hips over and go knee on belly. Well, potentially could take the back here.
Yeah. I think that might be what he goes for.
Has one hook in, but again, as we've said in previous fights, you transition from taking the back to mount. So for the guy on the bottom, it really is a pick your poison position.
Yeah. I mean, and here we are again with Isakov in full mount, raining down elbows.
Right in the corner of Jamil Chan. Trying to buck those hips and get out underneath the back. Great work from Chan.
Nicely done, but he's got to go for it.
Trying to defend that takedown. Doing all the right things by pushing down the head. Isakov recognizes it, switches, grabs the ankle, and a slightly frustrated look on the face of Jamil Chan at this stage.
A bit dejected, and you know, I can understand it. He tried his best. He just gotten out of that position, was trying to defend, but just didn't really do enough to stop from ending up on top. That was
an Anderson Silva-esque knee to the body, I think that was.
You gotta be careful though, so you don't end up a little bit high.
Again, he may just slide that knee down again. And you have to give credit to Jamil in this position. He does have the butterfly hook. He's constantly trying to work. As I say that, uses it to try and get up, but completely railroaded there.
Yeah, like a leech. Isakov just stayed on him. And he's going to pull out the legs from under him there. Yeah, nicely done.
Very smart work there from Isakov, and a real workman-like performance from Isakov.
Yeah, I mean, really just showing a very strong base of skills here. But look at the heart and will of Jamil Dynamite Chan, never out of a fight.
And as you say, with 30 seconds left in the round, there's still scope for someone like Jamil Chan to do something big.
Especially now we're separated. I mean, this is do or die. This is all or nothing for Jamil Chan. He can still land that knockout punch, but he looks tired though. 20 seconds left now.
You know, a fighter like Jamil Chan always has that one hitter quitter left in the tank. But right now he needs to throw big, he needs to throw hard.
His movements are a little too labored though. I think a lot of those grappling exchanges took too much out of him.
And if we look at that on the face of what we've seen on those 3 rounds, it really was a striker versus grappler confrontation. And
absolutely.
And very intelligent work done by Isakov. You have to give him credit for having a game plan, sticking to it, recognizes the strengths of his opponent, not being ego-driven and saying, okay, this guy's a great striker, I'm going to stand with him. I'm going to take the fight where I feel most comfortable, where I feel I can win the fight, and doing so expertly.
Yeah, and also recovering from some very tough positions. I mean, let's not forget the head kick that he absorbed, and then now in the 3rd round, he took some heavy shots to the body that definitely seemed to have him hurt, but he did not let those strikes put him away.
Serious heart and resilience from Jamil Chan, and as I say, when he puts it together, he's one of the best in the world. But
we saw glimpses of that here. I mean, where he managed to reverse positions, get out last strikes, but he just could not get. There was just not enough consistency with what he was trying to achieve.
Let's make things official and send it up to our MC, Mr. Lance Murdoch.
Once again, we consult the judges' scorecards. I can tell you that all 3 of our judges scored it 30-27. It is a unanimous decision. To the red corner, Isakov!
Isakov with another big name on his ledger. Takes the scalp of Rami Ahmed, takes the scalp of Jamil Chan, and sky's the limit for this young man, just coming into his peak years at 30 years old.
I mean, 2-0 now here in Brave over very good competition. I mean, I think that he's if he wasn't on people's radars before, he definitely is now after this performance.
And you've got to respect the sportsmanship there of Jamil Chan, staying in for a picture with the victor. And there's no doubt in my mind Jamil's going to be back.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a fighter like him, he can keep on going for a long time. He's always entertaining. He's never fully out of a fight, and he just throws dynamite, as his nickname suggests. And here we have some of those scrambles. And there's some of the strikes, yeah. Really heavy shots there from Jamil Chan, but he missed too often. There was that head kick, and most of those strikes there were blocked.
And next, we move on to the bantamweight division. Allow me to introduce, first of all, to the blue corner, Tariq Ismail. Up next, we move into the bantamweight division. Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of professional mixed martial arts in this bantamweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Toronto, Canada. He stands at 167 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 61.6 kilograms. He has an undefeated pro record of 6 fights and 6 wins. Tariq Desert Storm Ismail! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner. He fights out of Stockholm by way of Albania. He stands at 168 centimeters tall, weighing in at 61.5 kilograms with a pro record of 7 wins and 1 loss. Bernardo, the Lion King, Sopai! Our referee in charge of the action is Deck Larkin. Let's get down to business.
Tail of the tape, you see the most glaring discrepancy being that Bernardo is 19 against the veteran of Tariq Ismail. And this fight had a little bit of needle at the weigh-ins. I'm not a tough guy by any stretch of the imagination. I wasn't really enjoying being between these two guys.
Yeah, this was definitely a fight with the fighters with the most heat in the stare down. No touch of gloves there either.
And it will be interesting to see if Bernardo takes the fight to Tariq, because he has said no one has ever done that. They've been too respectful of the striking game of Tariq.
I mean, it truly would speak volumes of Bernardo Sopai's talent and potential if he does, you know, decide to keep standing. And he does, yeah, he scores a very hard leg kick there.
Both these guys trying to get a little bit of a measure of each other, exchanging kicks at the same time, but just by looking at Bernardo, you would also think that he's a veteran of such a career, because he looks so calm, so fresh in there, so loose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just something about this kid. I mean, he just does everything so well at such a young age. He actually started off with football before going over to MMA, so the only kicking he does now is of his opponent.
Oh, big lead hook there from Bernardo. And interestingly, though, right now he's the one leading the dance.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's just a testament to how well-rounded he is, because I think that Tariq Ismail, you know, obviously he's thinking about the takedown. Oh, and a nice...
Clips him over the top and forces Tariq into the clinch.
Very interesting.
Lovely defense there from Bernardo, just bringing up the level of Tariq so that he can't get clasped around the legs, around the hip, and reverses the position.
And right in front of his corner and in front of All-Stars head coach Andreas Michael, this is just a great start for Bernardo Sopai.
Look, I want to see this kid's birth certificate. At 19 years old, he cannot have this kind of composure.
It's almost like he was born to do this. I mean, he just seems so comfortable in there.
Definitely proving right now that in this very moment, he's really the king of the jungle. Nice stiff jab. And everything he's throwing with bad intentions.
Yeah, absolutely. When I spoke to him yesterday...
Oh, flying knee! There's that dynamic striking arsenal that we were talking about.
Yeah. There you have probably the strongest strike of a fight for Tariq Ismail as he lands a nice left body kick. But when I spoke to Sopai yesterday, I asked him, you know, what do you think of your opponent? And he just looked at me, called me, and said, he doesn't know what's coming. And it was truly chilling.
But again, this is the kind of fight that for me could potentially bring out the very best in Tariq Ismail. He's not used to being in those kind of situations. He's used to controlling a fight, but having to adapt on the fly and really make use of his full skill set could bring out the best in him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he relishes the challenge. He would love for someone to meet him in the middle and truly test him. And he's, you know, he's getting all he can handle here.
Training out of bazooka kickboxing and MMA in Toronto, you know that he's training with an absolute killer's row of guys up there in Canada. But the same can be said then of Bernardo Sopai at All Stars.
Yeah, yeah, both coming from very strong teams. Ismail, perhaps no surprise, a big fan of Mike Tyson. He says his favorite strike combination is the what he calls the Ernesto Hus. It's a 4-strike combination: jab, cross, body shot, and then right leg kick.
Classically Dutch.
Yep. Nice quick switch kick there, but mostly blocked.
A little bit of trash talk from the corner of Sopai there. He threw the kick, the corner said too slow.
Yeah.
That's one of the real interesting facets of having these closed events. You can hear absolutely everything.
I mean, like we saw in the Jacobson and Mavlonov fight, where the corners were kind of getting into it.
We go low.
Tariq now realizing that he probably has to throw a couple more feints to try and get a bite out of Bernardo before unleashing a strike.
Yeah, we haven't really seen enough volume from Ismail, I feel, because I mean, he is the more experienced striker. So let's see him sort of crank up the volume a little bit, get some more jabs and feints going.
Oh, nice work to the body, just as you say that. But he's also the kind of fighter that, for a round or so, will download the data being given to him by his opponent, go into the second round having made those adjustments. Oh, beautiful. Just level change, slight roll of the head, comes over the top. Oh, beautiful straight from Desert Storm.
We got ourselves a fight.
Oh, this fight is so finely tuned that you could hear a needle drop. There's such an air of anticipation with these two fighters.
It truly feels like the end could come at any second, and both guys, you know, showing some redness on the body. What a first round we've been treated to. Oh, nice defense there from Tariq Ismail.
Tariq with a couple of seconds left may choose to dive into the guard, but fires off some leg kicks with a little bit. There's a little bit of needle in them. There's a little bit of. You like that? Have a little bit of that.
Well, the way that he sort of stayed for just a couple seconds longer, looking down at Sopai before he walked away. I mean, the heat is still here, and we are feeling it.
Again, flying knee attempt by Bernardo, and that speaks to just the dynamism in his attack. He really is that new breed of mixed martial artist that can do it all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, so far he's done everything so well, though. I mean, he's holding his own with a striking veteran like Tariq Ismail, and just going after him. I mean, in fact, let's not forget, he was the one that forced the takedown out of Ismail. He was not the first one to go for it himself.
And interestingly enough, at the stare-off at the ceremonial weigh-ins, Tariq was the one that says, you won't stand with me. But again, how much of that's gamesmanship? How much of that is trying to plant a little bit of seed of doubt into your opponent's head?
I mean, again, as we mentioned in the Jacobson fight, there is such a mental battle as well.
A lot of water coming off the body of Bernardo.
Yeah.
Second round, guys. You ready?
There we go. Both fighters eager to get back at it.
We got face below.
Another good leg kick there from Tariq Ismail.
And again, it's that typical Muay Thai style of just cracking that in at that angle, not just swinging it in, but coming down at a crashing arc. Corner of Bernardo telling him to have confidence in his strikes.
Occupy that space, T.
And Ismail's doing a good job.
Oh, that's a big leg kick.
Yeah, just as I was gonna mention Ismail's leg kicks and how effective they are.
It's not so much kicking the leg as kicking through the leg, but then just springs forward with that straight.
Oh, head kick.
But again, Tariq doesn't even blink.
He barely flinched. Talk about a striking veteran.
Where's our straights? We got our straights in his face.
The corner of Tariq Ismail calling for fundamentals, calling for straights. And he seems to be finding his range a little bit more with those kicks. That goes back to what I said about downloading the data of the first round.
I mean, obviously, with all that experience, I mean, comes just a sense of security as well, that you can sort of take your time in there, read your opponent a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. And I do feel like it's coming together here in the second round.
And he is one of the most calm fighters I've ever seen compete.
Another head kick there from Sopai, but mostly blocked, mostly grazed.
Working the body, Tariq Ismail. And what we're essentially watching right now is a kickboxing bout being contested in an MMA cage.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, so far, second round, no takedown attempts.
Let's see more feints, T.
And, you know, for everything there is to be said about Tariq Ismail's striking background, Bernardo Sopai has competed in kickboxing bouts as well, so he can definitely hold his own, as we've seen so far.
I think whilst it's a case of real solid, real polished fundamentals. Oh, that kick got through.
That definitely got Tariq Ismail's attention. Some showboating there from Bernardo Sopai.
Bernardo looks like he's turning up the heat a little bit. And again, getting kind of confident in there. Feeling his flow, feeling himself. Tries to come over the top.
Put the pressure on. Now you got the pressure on. That's it.
And I feel like he's, you know,
gets caught with a counter hook.
And I feel like he's creating just a small bit of hesitation in Tariq Ismail, who, like I said, just hasn't necessarily gotten the volume or as many feints and fakes away as I would have liked to see.
So theoretically, what he's doing is he's doing to Tariq Ismail what Tariq does to all his opponents.
Yeah. And I mean, is that not a testament of a true prospect, a true talent, somebody who can take it to your opponent in a way that they truly are strong?
That's a nice leg kick from Tariq.
Where's that low? Where's that low?
The corner calling for the leg kick from Tariq Ismail. And Tariq has been crashing those leg kicks in.
Yeah, those have probably been his most effective strikes so far.
Oh, over the top from Bernardo.
But again, the veteran Ismail really just takes it like a champ.
And again, double underhooks here. Is that double underhooks? Sorry, over-under position. Tariq trying to dig in with those double underhooks, but being clamped down by Bernardo. Beautiful work to transition and slip out there.
Out, and here we are again, striking range. Sopai really rising to the occasion so far. I mean, yeah, he is eating some hard leg kicks. We definitely see the evidence of that on his left leg, which has reddened up a lot. But wow, that was a good right hand that got through.
We got a minute left. We gotta get hot. We gotta get hot.
Ismail's corner saying we gotta get. Oh, and just says that. But he gets up right away. But yeah,
smart work from Tariq to get up there.
Ismail's corner saying we gotta get hot, gotta get going, and I gotta agree. I mean, he's really gotta just find his flow.
You've got to respect the work rate of both men. You know, this has been a constant back and forth. You land, I land, you kick, I kick.
20 seconds, T, let's get hot.
Just over 20 seconds left here in the second round. And it's been, you know, pretty closely contested, though I do feel Sopai just has a slight edge.
You can see Tariq just trying to find those gaps in the armor of Bernardo, and he's trying to find space to land that shot, but so far the defense of Bernardo's been impregnable.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, he really is proving why he is so talked about. And there, for the first time, we got a little bit of respect between the fighters. And here is some of the action from round two. There is that high kick. Got through the defense of Tariq Ismail. Good shot to the body. And a kick caught by Sopai. Used the position to momentarily plant Tariq on the canvas.
Perhaps for the first time in the career of Tariq Ismail, we might see him entering a third round down.
Yeah.
And needing to take the fight to his opponent. Because he's used to winning by unanimous decision ad nauseum in all of his fights. He's potentially down 2 rounds, needs to grab the grab the fight by the collar and really run with this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a position he's not used to being in. And it says a lot of the potential of Bernardo Sopai, that he is the one that has managed to push Tariq Ismail to the limit here.
Come on, move it.
This third round, this next 5 minutes will be pivotal in both the careers of Tariq Ismail
Time. I call time.
and in Bernardo Sopai.
Well,
Looks like we will see a return of a towel, so referee Deck Larkin can remove some of the excess liquid here.
As I say, next 5 minutes, absolutely pivotal in the careers of both men.
And there the trash talk returns.
you ready? Let's do this.
Third and final round. Let's see if they turn it up a little bit here. I mean, I feel like Ismail has to. Oh, what a kick to the body from Bernardo the Lion King Sopai.
And then attacks the legs. It's the levels. It's not just the leg kicks you need to worry about. It's not just the hands. It's not just the kicks to the body. It's the frequency of shots that he's throwing from all 3 levels, Seb.
Yeah, I mean, the fluidity between his different techniques. I mean, also the way that he mixes in a little bit of grappling here and there also. I mean, he just, like I said, he does everything so well. He strings together his combinations very nicely, switches levels. Truly a young prospect.
And he's causing Tariq to bite on the feints a little bit as well, which is something we haven't really seen Tariq do in his fights.
I mean, Ismail he's doing the right thing and pressuring Sopai towards the cage. He just doesn't really have that volume. There was another good leg kick. I mean, like I said, the leg kicks have been the most successful strikes. And a nice right hand there as well.
A shake of the head from Bernardo. Showing almost a little bit of youthful arrogance in there.
Yeah, that's a part that speaks the most of him being 19 years old. It's that cocky confidence.
Tariq managed to block and check a good portion of that kick, but it still wobbled the leg ever so slightly, showing the power that Bernardo puts in.
It looked like he got just momentarily a little bit shaken there from that strike. And another good low leg kick from Bernardo Sopai.
Don't stress it. Let's go. Let's go straights. We got straights. He's coming with the right hand. You see it coming.
Another good punch to the body for Sopai. Just over 3 minutes left here in the third and final round.
And again, it looks like Tariq is trying to, he's moving, he's throwing feints, he's implementing head movement, trying to find those gaps, but so far they're just not there to get through.
Yeah, I mean, he just can't really figure out what puzzle that is Bernardo Sopai, who's doing such a good job of keeping his opponent guessing, going in and out with hard strikes. I mean, even there where Ismail backs Sopai up, he doesn't really manage to mount so much offense.
Bernardo really starting to turn it up and turn it on in the second half of this third and final round.
Tariq Ismail's corner calling for combination.
Uppercut to hook combination for Bernardo.
Occupy the space. Occupy the space. Get that straight down.
What I'm really enjoying from Bernardo is every time his back's against the cage, he waits just to the last moment to Tariq, commits to the strike, and then pivots out.
Yeah.
Oh! Spinning back kick attempt.
I mean, it didn't land with 100% power, but that was still a very nicely thrown strike. And there's something to be said also of the confidence of Sopai, who kind of shakes his head at almost every strike that he absorbs.
Keep moving, jump in, go, keep moving. He's coming with the right hand, you know it. He's coming, counter.
And again there, he just shakes it, you know. What was that?
I fully expect Tariq to commit to the straight right, and you just see Bernardo slip outside a distance or circle off.
And there's less than a minute and a half to go now for a final round. And Ismail, yeah, he's got to turn it up. He's got to find those combinations. He's got to, you know, find his distance. I mean, just throw. Oh, look at the redness on the left leg of Bernardo Sopai.
He has eaten some heavy leg kicks, just as I say that. There's another one. No crazy slap off that, so you know it was digging in deep.
And there was a nice little 1-2 for Ismail, but too little too late. I mean, there's just not been enough of it.
But all that damage he's absorbed in that lead leg doesn't really seem to have impeded the movement.
Yeah.
Bernardo really putting the pressure on now, calling Ismail in, telling him to engage in a firefight with him.
And it has been largely a stand-up affair so far, which speaks to the strengths of Bernardo Sopai, keeping it standing against such a seasoned striker.
30 seconds to go, 20 seconds to go. Does Tariq throw caution to the wind? Does he engage in a firefight for the final couple of seconds and hope to land that one-hitter quitter? 10 seconds to go. Are we going to see a firefight?
Let's see. We got to go for it.
Oh, huge kick to the body going up high there. And there we have it. 3 rounds of wonderful, engaging, entertaining mixed martial arts action. As soon as the final bell goes, they embrace. The beef has been squashed. We've been entertained. Are you sure you're 19? Show me your birth certificate.
And there you have it, Bernardo Sopai soaking it in, acknowledging the biggest takeaway here, that this guy who is so complete, so skilled, is just 19 years old.
He stepped down into the commentary position there and says, I'm only 19 years old. Think of what I could do. Think of my potential.
Think of what I could do at 29. Yeah, you've got to think great things are waiting in the distance for Bernardo Sopai.
It was all about just. MMA is a game of inches.
Yeah.
And in that regard, it was all about just those little moments that the decision making of Bernardo was also something that was so impressive. Again, I keep saying this and I keep coming back to this, but 19 years old.
I mean, it feels like he's been doing this for several years, but yeah, he's only been doing it for 3 years, and he just looks so complete, so well-rounded.
And we have a decision, so let's throw it up to Mr.
Another
Murdoch.
epic battle here in the cage at Brave CF38, ladies and gentlemen. We consult the judges' scorecards. Judge A scored it 30-27. Judge B scored it 30-27. And Judge C scored it 29-28. It is a unanimous decision. To the red corner, Bernardo Sopai!
There we have it, now 8-1. The Lion King roars here in Brave, really making a statement against an experienced veteran like Tariq Ismail.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the Lion King eats tonight. I'll wimba way, I'll wimba way.
I guess there's no worries here.
We check some of the replay action here, and again, like I said before the decision was announced, it was all about the decision making of the 19-year-old. He was just that little bit quicker, that little bit more decisive in his action.
And he had so much variety as well. I mean, the high kicks, the flying knees. He just strung everything together, kept Tariq Ismail guessing, kept him just at the edge of his punches, and managed to, I mean, aside from the leg kicks, he wasn't really rocked by any super hard strikes. I mean, the sky is the limit here for the Lion King, Bernardo Sopai. There we had the spinning back kick. I mean, yeah, it didn't really land with 100% conviction, but the fact that he can throw those techniques.
Brave Nation, our next fight in the super lightweight division is our co-main event of the evening. Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of professional mixed martial arts in the super lightweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Gloucester, England. He stands at 178 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 75.1 kilograms with a professional record of 13 wins and 4 losses. Making his Brave debut, Mario Rude Boy Saheed! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner, fighting out of Paris, France. He stands at 180 centimeters tall. He weighs in at 74.8 kilograms. He has an undefeated pro record of 5 wins and 1 no contest. Benoit, God of War, Saint-Denis! Our referee in charge of the action is Anders Olsen. Let's get down to business.
Quick tail of the tape. Mario Saheed, the elder by 5 years. Everything else not too dissimilar. Do these men cancel each other out with their expert, proficient BJJ and end up standing, or do we see something special on the ground, Seb?
Oh, I cannot wait to see. I mean, I think regardless of where this fight ends up, I think it'll be very entertaining. Both guys very skilled on the ground, obviously, and they know how to get it done on the feet. Benoit Saint-Denis is the first one to shoot for the takedown here right in front of a broadcast position, and let's see how it goes. So far, well defended from Mario Saheed.
Needs to be wary of leaving the neck end. Saheed, of course, a fantastic wrestler in his own right. This is a position that he's used to being in. And you can see he has that heavy heavy overhook. May try and clamp down. Needs to be wary of being thrown.
There, Benoit Saint-Denis gets the takedown.
Saheed has both butterfly hooks in. May elevate and sweep, but again, this position is bread and butter for Mario Saheed, as it is for Benoit Saint-Denis. And as I've alluded to, I think we're going to see some interesting exchanges. But
yeah, I mean, obviously, sorry for cutting off there. Saheed, I mean, he's been preparing in all these positions. I mean, he's done it all. He's been there, done that. He's been in the game for such a long time, fought in most of the most respected organizations in the UK. And here he is ready to make a stamp, prove himself to the brave nation. And I'm sure this is nothing that flusters him.
And what I'm enjoying here is neither man is rushing to make a mistake.
Yeah.
They're both realizing that they're involved in a chess match here. Chess is a thinking man's game. BJJ, especially in mixed martial arts, is essentially the equivalent of physical chess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it truly speaks to their composure here. Both guys keeping their cool and, as you said, not rushing it. Oh, nicely done there from Mario Saheed. Momentarily kicked Saint-Denis away.
Momentarily, I thought we were going to see him Berimbolo roll into something.
Yeah, that would be certainly would be a sight to behold.
And you can see him with that butterfly hook. He's trying to create a little bit of space. He's trying to shift the momentum of Benoit Saint-Denis.
And how much of a statement would it not be for Mario Saheed to pull off a submission victory over a submission specialist like the God of War, Benoit Saint-Denis?
And transversely, how much... Oh, he's got in on trying to get the heel hook. Doesn't quite have the angle for it. But transversely, how much of a feather in the cap would it be of Benoit Saint-Denis as a brown belt to get the tap of a black belt like Mario Saheed?
I mean, both guys have so much to gain here. There's a lot on the line.
Big takedown from Mario Saheed.
And here, Saheed truly can prove that he is the rude boy with scoring some heavy ground and pound.
Needs to be acutely aware of the triangle potentially from Benoit Saint-Denis here. He's trying to get wrist control. He's trying to stuff that leg or arm between his legs.
And Saheed, he's been so fired up all week. I mean, I remember when...
Oh, that's so smart. I'm sorry, but I have to pay tribute to that. Benoit Saint-Denis had the wrist grip, was trying to get that down for the triangle. Mario Saheed, acutely aware of it, uses it to slice through.
Yeah, very nicely done. I'll tell you, anyone who was sleeping on Mario Saheed before is certainly not doing so now. And he is connecting a rear naked choke. He might be a bit too... Not sure if the position is ideal, though.
But he has both the hooks in. You can hear the corner saying that he's got plenty of time. 1 minute 40 with which to work. As a black belt, he's not going to rush anything. He's going to be slow, methodical, ensure he has the position before anything else. But nice work from Benoit Saint-Denis trying to turn into Mario Saheed.
Yeah, and what an exciting chess match it has been on the ground here so far. Now we've got Benoit Saint-Denis on top. And both guys just keeping their cool, battling it out here.
Benoit sits through in the scarf position. Going to establish that side control. Landing his strikes, and Mario Saheed needs to get up on his left hip and turn in towards Benoit Saint-Denis. Watch out for the crucifix.
Yeah, this is a bad position for Mario Saheed.
And now they've exchanged positions with Benoit Saint-Denis trying to take the back. Nice work to get back on the feet from Rude Boy. can expect to eat some knees here.
Yeah, they're just as you said it. And they've been very evenly matched so far. Like you said, switching positions, momentum going back and forth like a pendulum on a clock.
I'm really enjoying this fight, Sebastian. If you're a real fan of mixed martial arts and you can see the technical proficiency of both these men, you cannot help but marvel at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost hard to find words, because there's so much happening in the grappling exchanges.
Nice little shoulder bump strikes there from Benoit Saint-Denis, not unlike a famous Irishman.
Well, you throw shoulder strikes?
Nice little pot shots here, keeping himself honest.
Okay, shot right at the bell, did not seem intentional.
Yeah, I think that shot had left the chamber, so to speak, before the whistle had gone, or before the buzzer had gone. But again, such an intricate little battle between these guys. There's all these little microaggressions going on that are just so intriguing.
And such a close round. I mean, Phil, how would you score it?
How would I score it, Sebastian? With great difficulty would be the answer. Honestly, can you have a 10-10 round?
You know what? I'd accept that.
All right, let's go 10-10 on that, because these guys are just so evenly matched. As I say, I'm still marveling at the triangle defense we saw there of Mario Saheed. To have that level of forethought to acknowledge it and then use that momentum offensively rather than just defensively trying to shut it down.
And there was some urgency there in the corner. Benoit Saint-Denis seemed like he might be having a little bit of trouble with his right eye. Referee Anders Taxi Olsen wipes him down a little bit as well. We don't want the fighters too slippery.
Let's go, Mario. Hands up, chin down. Flow. We want to flow, baby.
Saheed mentioned that his daughter called him, I think it was last night or the night before, and said, "Daddy, kill him." He said, "No, I don't kill people." She said, "Okay, beat him."
Fight. Hands up, Mario.
We're seeing both guys wearing the story of the fight. I mean, it has been largely a grappling match so far, but they have been eating some ground and pound, both guys have.
Benoit Saint-Denis coming out of that southpaw stance, the likes of the body kick. Oh, and he's holding the hand a little bit low. That might have landed.
Those definitely found their mark, and a third one there, but caught by Mario Saheed.
Parlays that into a beautiful single leg, but now we're seeing the entanglement. Both men go for leg locks. Potential knee bar. Potential knee bar from Mario Saheed. But again, look at the calm of the 24-year-old Frenchman.
Yeah.
Needs to be wary of the heel hook too. This is such a 50-50 position in MMA.
Both guys going for it.
Can he crank on that heel hook? Using his foot to push down, and that's beautiful defense. What an exchange.
Very nicely done there from Benoit Saint-Denis.
Oh, but gets caught. He gets clipped with a hook. Oh, this fight has everything. Needs to be wary of dipping that head in, especially with that southpaw. Big knee from Benoit Saint-Denis.
I think Mario Saheed might be hurt here.
This is big strikes and big points being scored. Oh, Benoit Saint-Denis with huge left hands.
Pouring it on the rude boy with heavy strikes here. And another knee.
Mario fires back, one of the most game fighters in mixed martial arts. There's no quit in either of these men. Stiff jab from Mario Saheed.
What a fight we've got here. The first round largely grappling. Here we've got some vicious striking exchanges. But those shots are coming a bit labored from Mario Saheed. I think he still might be a little bit shaken. Oh, and another combination there.
Works the body up to the head. This fight is fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. Benoit Saint-Denis with a big uppercut. But Mario just wears it.
Oh, and another left hand.
Oh, he's caught! Oh, he's caught! That could be it!
That is it! Benoit Saint-Denis proving why he is one of the most talked about prospects coming out of France.
And we have Mario Saheed just in front of us here in our commentary position, so we're going to show him the respect he deserves and let him gather his composure.
Absolutely. It was a strong showing from him, even in defeat. He had so many nice moments, especially in the first round where he really put it on the grappler, Benoit Saint-Denis.
But as I said, one thing you cannot discount is the heart of Mario Saheed. He was in that to the very end. The body shut down before the mind did. You know, he was as game as they come, wanted to be in there, absorbed some serious shots.
And Benoit Saint-Denis proving that he's more than just a grappler. what a fight that was.
Mario Saheed just getting checked over by our cage side physicians, who safety is of course paramount. These gentlemen get in here and they throw hands at each other, throw knees at each other, but at the end of the day, this is sport. We still want people to go home to their families.
Absolutely. And here is a replay of the finishing sequence, I believe. Oh, no.
Oh, that's a huge knee. That was earlier in the round at the far side of the cage, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. That was earlier on.
And the fact that Mario ate that and continued to that point speaks to his fortitude.
Yeah, I mean,
speaks
he
to how
got up
tough
from
he
that
is,
position and continued soldiering on. Hard not to feel for Mario Saheed, who has been, just trying his best, to prove himself to the European MMA community.
Wow, and Mario Saheed just asked his corner what happened. That tells you the amount of punishment he absorbed there, and just how dangerous the strikes were of Benoit Santoni. Let's throw it up to Lance Murdoch for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, in our co-main event of the evening, in an absolutely devastating finish, our referee Anders Olsen stopped the action after 1 minute and 49 seconds of round 2. And the winner, by way of TKO in the red corner, Benoit Santoni!
Abduragimov is a grappling and submission phenom and will be looking to add Booth's scalp to his already impressive record.
This was always my vision.
A focused, dedicated former champion who may feel like a wounded animal is a dangerous opponent.
Is an absolute beast on the ground, and in the cage his ground game is just as spectacular.
Carl Bobber Booth coming off perhaps the most dominant win of his mixed martial arts career.
Truly a well-rounded mixed martial artist.
He has massive power in both hands.
Abduragimov takes on dangerous Englishman Carl Booth, both vying for a shot at the brave welterweight gold. Who will come out on top and put their name forward for a crack at the Brave Combat Federation reigning champion?
One of the most accomplished grapplers of his generation. He has been on a tear since coming back from injury and is on a destructive path towards the title.
Carl Bobber Booth!
My name's Carl Bobber Booth. I'm from Nottingham, England, representing no gym at all at the moment. The preparations for this fight went good. I'm really fit and strong. Managed to still be able to pull a little team around me, which has been fun, and I massively appreciate the help from the guys that give me. The prediction for this fight will be that it's going to end violently in the second round. I don't think anything to my opponent, other than I know that he's a strong athlete, is like well-rounded and stuff. But I look past that, I look beyond that. I'm against myself, trying to get my best performance out. My advantages over my opponent were going to be my striking, I guess speed, probably a little bit of reach as well. But other than that, I think mindset, I'm going to be putting it on him from the get-go. This fight to me is a massive fight. It's an opportunity to test myself against one of the best guys in this division, and I'm here to make a statement. Abdul, I know you've trained well, I know you've got a good team around you. Let's do this. Let's have the best fight we can do and put it on for the audience.
My name is Abduragimov. I represent the gym Delarive à Nantes. The preparation for this fight was good, nice and calm. Nothing special, like always. I don't have predictions, but what I can say, I will try my best to finish the fight. About my opponent, I'm thinking nothing special. He's a good striker, and that's it. My advantage is obvious: the grappling game, ground game, the wrestling. He's better in the striking game. Carl, let's have a good and clean fight, like the referee would say.
And now, two of the best welterweights in the world are ready to collide inside the Brave Arena. Brave Nation, don't blink for this one. It's our main event of the evening. Two men have entered this cage. Only one will leave victorious. Who will be one step closer to fighting for the Brave Combat Federation World Championship? So once again, I need to know who's ready for action! Sponsored by Abu Dhabi Sports, Afton Bladet and Greenhill, sanctioned by the Swedish MMA Federation and President Jasper Gunnarsson. Our cage-side judges are Anders Olsen, Tom Crawford and Mans Nielsen. Brave Combat Federation presents 3 5-minute rounds of professional mixed martial arts in this catchweight bout. Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Nottingham, England. He stands at 183 centimeters. He weighs in at 76.8 kilograms with a pro record of 9 wins, 3 losses and 1 no contest. Carl Bomber Booth! Across the cage, his opponent stands in the red corner. He fights out of Nantes, France by way of Dagestan. He stands at 178 centimeters tall and weighs in at 77.5 kilograms. He has a pro record of 10 wins, 1 loss and 1 no contest. Abdul the Conqueror Abduragimov! Our referee in charge of the action is Mr. Deck Larkin. Let's get down to business!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, main event time. You're looking at the tail of the tape here. Abduragimov, the younger man at 24 against Carl Booth at 31 years old. I firmly believe he is in the middle of his peak years right now.
Absolutely. I think his last fight is a testament to that. I mean, he completely demolished Haider Hassan. We've never seen Carl Booth look as good, as fluid, as slick as he did in that bout. He early broke the nose of Hassan and just never let up, constantly putting the pressure on his opponent. And it just felt like something had clicked in him. He just put all the components together, and wow, here we go.
Main event, I am buzzing like your cousin for this fight. Cannot wait to see what kind of action reveals itself in front of us here.
I mean, these are such high-level fighters. I mean, if you just look at the credentials that we have, I mean, look at the opponents that we've gotten past. Of course, we mentioned Haider Hassan, who's a very, very skilled fighter that Carl Booth got past. He's also, you know, TKO'd Gazimur Agatsiev. He's got a win over TKO win over Dino Bagatin. I mean, just so skilled are both these fighters.
Both these men are 1-on-1 with the welterweight champion Jarrah Al-Salawi. So an emphatic victory, I think, could place either man front and center for a shot at the belt. And big double leg from Abduragimov.
Slam City population Carl Booth. What a takedown.
But again, as I've said ad nauseum, there's a misconception that Carl Booth is just a striker. He's not. Here we will see the work he's been putting in on his ground game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when he has such strong and fluid striking, of course, you've got to work on those, on, you know, your weaknesses, and he is becoming a much more well-rounded and complete fighter for every day. And every time we see him, he proves that inside the cage.
I like just how calm Carl's looking there, but he gives up the half guard. You can see, nice spread base. That's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt 101. Heavy hips, spread the base. Very, very smart work from Abduragimov.
Of course, we mentioned Carl Booth's credentials in his list of victories. I mean, look at Abduragimov's resume. He got wins over Rodrigo Cavaliero, Viscardi Andrade, and in his just 3rd pro fight, he defeated Gael Grimaud by 2nd round submission. Gael Grimaud is one of the best welterweights ever to come out of France, a true veteran of French MMA. No easy task in just your 3rd pro fight, but Abduragimov passed that test with flying colors.
Yeah, a real proven finisher. 7 wins by finish, 6 in the first round, 6 by way of sub, 3 rear naked chokes, 2 anacondas, and an arm triangle.
So and he's got Booth in a crucifix now.
Booth trying to buck out, get those hips high and turn in. And you're seeing the athleticism of Carl Booth here by trying to get out of this position. Not huge fight-ending strikes being landed. Oh, they are now with those elbows. They're nasty.
Full mount now for Abduragimov.
And this is perhaps the most decisive, aggressive, and nasty that we've seen. Abduragimov.
Absolutely. You can tell that he wants to make it. Oh, but nicely done from Carl Booth. Reverses, ends up in an armbar though, but gets out just in time.
Nice work from Carl Booth, showing his athleticism, showing his knowledge of the ground game, now inside the close guard of Abduragimov.
So I mentioned the third pro fight of Abduragimov's career, not an easy task. Well, how about his first two fights? They took place on the same day. Both his first and second pro fights were on the same day. Obviously, he won both.
Carl needs to be careful of putting those hands on the mat. That can be a trigger for somebody who's particularly good at jiu-jitsu if the hands are on the mat.
Yeah, definitely.
You can see Abduragimov has that foot on the hip. Head arm triangle from the bottom potentially here.
Jockeying for position, and wow, what a reversal from Abduragimov.
Now sitting in that scarf position, may grab the inside of his own thigh just to secure it a little bit further, but he can land little pot shots from here.
And I think he wants to get back to either a mount or a crucifix, yeah.
Carl Booth with the butterfly hooks may get the foot on the hip and push away.
And he recognized the danger. It was a similar position he'd been in before. Nice adjustment there from Booth to make sure he didn't end up. Oh, but now again, he's got a crucifix position here, does Abduragimov.
May try and hit the Americana from this position, or... Good work from Carl Booth to establish the underhook. Needs to be wary of the baseball bat choke.
Oh, and we've got a darts choke coming.
Into the darts. This is just how decisive and definitive the jiu-jitsu is of Abduragimov. Can Carl Booth survive? And that's the tap! In the first round! Abduragimov with a beautiful first round submission, adding to 7 submission wins in his mixed martial arts career. You see the mark of the man. As soon as he got the tap, he looked to Carl and asked if he was okay. What a performance from the former champion and potentially now the #1 contender.
What a statement of a performance there for Abduragimov, showing just the nature of a true champion, both finishing the bout and the nature of a champ afterwards, as well as you mentioned, and he just looked so good in those top positions. Testament to Carl Booth's toughness, because a lot of fighters would not have gotten out of that crucifix position.
And I said at the beginning of the broadcast and in the build-up show, it really came down to which Abduragimov turned up. The guy who said no mas after the last fight with Jalal Salawi, or the guy that won the championship. That is championship quality Abduragimov. That is how he earned his nickname. That is why he is called the Conqueror.
Yeah, I mean, the Conqueror, completely correct. He really conquered the cage here at Brave 38. I mean, not really facing a whole... I mean, sure, he was reversed briefly. He was reversed, but he managed to... I mean, he just showed his savvy there with grappling and jiu-jitsu. Once he was reversed, he reversed right back, and then once he connected that darts choke, it was tap or nap.
I need to calm down. Let's go to Lance Murdoch for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, in our main event of the evening here at Brave CF 38, our referee, Mr. Deck Larkin, stopped the action after 4 minutes and 20 seconds of the very first round. The winner, by way of darts choke, in the red corner, Abdul the Conqueror, Abduragimov!
There you have it,
ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, we will be back, same place, same time next week. Our European invasion continues here in Stockholm, Sweden, with Brave CF 39. Please stay tuned for the post-fight interviews and after-fight wrap-up.
Phil Campbell, this card delivered and delivered and delivered. When we said this was the best card we've put on so far and this was going to be an absolute barn burner, we were not joking.
I'm not going to lie to you, Jay. My voice is going a little bit because I was so excited, so invigorated in commentary. We had 5 matchups there that were not only hotly contested, but they all had a purpose. They all had progression for each fighter. So excited, so happy to be calling them, and I can't wait for the next one.
And this fight card answered many questions that we asked before. Ellen Oberg and Marlon Hermanson. The arrival of Bernardo Sopai. Could he take that step up as a 19-year-old? And the question I asked was, does Abduragimov still have that killer instinct? And he answered. But let's start with the first fight, which we said, if it went 3 rounds, could very possibly be fight of the night. Ellen and Marlon.
Well, a lot of the talk coming into this fight was all about Marlon Hermanson. People weren't really talking about Ellen Oberg, but we had said in the build-up, potentially, if she keeps those hands down, Ellen could throw up that head kick. What happened late in the 3rd round? She landed a sumptuous head kick and is potentially now a breakout star of Swedish mixed martial arts.
She has definitely announced her arrival on the MMA scene.
Yeah, Jay, that's definitely the best that we've seen Jamil Chan look in a very long time. He came out, he was hitting the leg kicks, he was hitting the strikes. What he was perhaps guilty of doing, or perhaps it could have been the game plan of Isakov, was sitting down in his shots a little bit, and from there, Isa scored the takedown. But in commentary, I compared Isakov to Roy Keane. Not a particular flair type fighter, but does the fundamentals so well, and it's very hard to prevent him from implementing those fundamentals.
He's definitely one of those guys where if you looked up clinical in the dictionary, he would be there. Everything was methodical, everything was thought out. He went through that fight, as I say, all the way through, almost like an assassin, picking his spots, deciding where he wanted to go, and at the end of the day got the win.
Yeah, and again, this fight really was a showcase for the super lightweight division. This is a division within Brave that is growing from strength to strength and really has the potential to be a real hallmark, a real prestige division.
And then the fight that I called that would probably end up being the fight of the night, the one I was most excited for, Tariq Ismail coming in undefeated against the 19-year-old, and I'll say it again, 19-year-old Bernardo Sopai. What an absolute clinic from him. He said he would keep the fight standing. He said he would come after his opponent, and that fight delivered multiple times.
First things first, I want to see this kid's birth certificate. I don't believe that he is 19 years old, purely because he looked so calm in there. He looked like a savvy veteran, somebody far beyond his 19 years. He did to Tariq Ismail what Tariq Ismail has done to everyone else. He put the pressure on them. He earned the respect from them. It was a real breakout, hallmark performance on a global stage.
And I said that if he comes away with a win in this fight, I'm telling you now, this is an announcement of a future superstar. He is here to stay on the Brave platform. We are going to take this kid and see where he goes, but this is a star in the making for sure.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, and as we say, at only 19 years old, we keep harking back to that. You could call this Brave 19 because that's what we've mentioned most of this fight. 19 years old, doing that, running his record to 8-1. There's a big hype train with this kid, and I'm on board.
And then moving on to our co-main event, as you say, another showcase of the super lightweight division right here at Brave Combat Federation. Mario Saheed really wanted to announce himself into the Brave cage, but came up against, as we called him, you know, the finisher himself in Benoit Saint-Denis, coming in. The grappling in this fight was incredible, but again, it finished on the feet.
What I loved so much about this fight was the jiu-jitsu exchanges, and that to me showed that Benoit Saint-Denis deserves his plaudits, deserves his credits as one of the great jiu-jitsu guys in mixed martial arts. And then coming from that southpaw stance to the God of War unleashed hell is exactly what he did. Some beautiful striking. And what makes this all the more impressive is that it was against someone like Mario Saheed. Mario Saheed didn't necessarily get the credit he deserved coming into this fight, but he is one of the best fighters, pound for pound, in Europe. So for Benoit Saint-Denis to get a win over Mario Saheed really vaults him into the talk of title contention and one of the great finishers in mixed martial arts.
As you say, undefeated, carries on. But again, finish after finish after finish. And we said before that all of his finishes might have been on the ground, but they were all different techniques. Now he's finished one in standing as well. This definitely puts him into that conversation of title contention in super lightweights.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And we forget how young he is. I believe he's 24 years old. You don't think he's so young because he's so stoic, because he's so methodical in his approach, because he goes in there, gets the job done, and was filled with so much emotion, almost looked angry after the fight, like he wanted to go again. That to me is a hallmark of a great fighter, and we're going to put him in again as quick as we can.
And then moving on to our main event, again, the one that we've spoken about repeatedly. The question I had was which Abduragimov would show up. Would he still have that killer instinct? And when he hit the ground and he started throwing those elbows in the crucifix, you knew he was here to finish that fight.
Yeah, a lot of the time we've seen when Abduragimov gets in those positions, he's more looking for the submission because he's genuinely a nice guy. He doesn't want to put a hurting on his opponents. But then he flicked a switch. He was landing these beautiful free-him-off elbows into the dome of Carl Booth. And Carl Booth, again, is an absolute beast with great ground, great wrestling. So for Abduragimov to go in and do that to him, that's a real feather in his cap.
And as we said, this is a display of the European talent that Brave Combat Federation has. Every fight of the last 5 went, incredible fights. You couldn't call them. It was back and forth all the way through. This shows the type of talent that we have on the roster. This shows the type of talent we have in those weight divisions. And also the announcement of these young kids coming through that are really starting to push the guys up through those weight divisions as well. Excitement from top to bottom all across the weight divisions in Brave Combat Federation at the moment.
19 years old.
19 years old.
He is only 19 years old. That's terrifying.
Well, there you have it, guys. Next week, same place, same time, right back here in Stockholm, Sweden. Brave 39 is coming up. I'm sure the action is going to be absolutely crazy again. You don't want to miss it. Get onto social media. Jump onto Brave Combat Federation's pages. Tell us what you think of the fights. Give us some of your comments. Ask us some of your questions. And we'll see you next week. Jason van Skalkwijk, Phil Campbell, thank you so much for joining us.
19.